This was the new system ability he had obtained after spending 92.5 million yuan to purchase an office in the global financial building. Lin Fan had wanted to give it a try for a long time. At this moment, without any hesitation, he said directly, "Sign in." Ding, congratulations, you've obtained Madu Global Financial Tower 1. Seeing this, Lin Fan was stunned. What was going on? In other words, he had not only earned 900 million yuan by buying an office, but he also won an entire building. This was the Global Financial Tower. One office was worth nearly 100 million yuan. How much would the entire building cost? 30 billion, 50 billion. Lin Fan's face was filled with a strange expression. This trip to Madu was really not bad. Do you want to open the 10 silver packets? This was the reward for completing the hidden mission when the funds exceeded 1 billion. Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 million yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 300,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 500,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received a Patek Philippe 5002p. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 5% of the shares of Little Tanuki Group. Ding, congratulations, you've received 100,000 yuan. From the 10 silver packets, Lin Fan received a total of 2.9 million yuan, a Patek Philippe 5002p and 5% shares of the Little Tanuki Group. Seeing this, even Lin Fan could not help but smile. Little Tanuki Group was a super internet company comparable to Penguin with a market value of nearly 5 trillion. 5% of the shares meant that it was also worth about 250 billion yuan. What a terrifying number. Then Lin Fan took out his phone. Do you wish to open 9,300 red packets? They were from the 93 million yuan he had spent on his trip to Madu. 9,300 red packets, let me see what I can get, Lin Fan said expectantly. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained the painting of spring trees and autumn frost. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 144 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 100 stock trend cards for the next 3 days. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5% of Gucci's shares. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 19,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received a MEGAS4 wristwatch. From the 9,300 red packets, Lin Fan received a total of 2,521,151 yuan. He did not care about this bit of money at all. After all, Lin Fan could earn at least 3.5 million yuan every day. 100 stock trend cards for the next 3 days. After using it, you can randomly obtain the trend chart of 100 stocks in the next 3 days. With one word, you can determine the future and show your supreme charm. Note, when buying stocks, the amount of each stock should be less than 1% of the market value of the stock. Was this the way to increase the value of his money quickly? Lin Fan skipped over it. 5% of Gucci's shares. Gucci was a world-renowned luxury bag and clothing company with a market value of about 500 billion yuan. 5% of the shares. That was about 25 billion. This was not bad. When Lin Fan lifted his eyelids, there were 2 fashionable and cool watches in front of him. Obviously, these were the MEGAS4 and the Patek Philippe 5002p that he had just gotten from the silver and red packets. Under the 2 watches was an exquisite ancient painting. In the painting, 2 scholars sat cross-legged on a big rock, chatting softly, which was very artistic. Seeing this, Lin Fan threw the 2 watches aside. Then he picked up the painting and admired it carefully. Is this Tang Bohu's painting of spring trees and autumn frost? It's indeed well drawn, no wonder Tang Bohu was able to chase after Qixiang. If someone who loved watches saw this scene, they would be heartbroken. One had to know. The two watches that Lin Fan casually threw out were the Patek Philippe 5002P and the MEGAS 4. The 5002P was a super complex functional watch, limited to no more than 10 pieces worldwide. The price of each watch was more than 15 million. The MEGAS 4 was recognized as the most complicated watch in the world, and its price was also more than 15 million. These two watches were priceless treasures. In the end, they were thrown out just like that. If they were knocked over, it would definitely be a loss for the watch industry. The next day, when the sun rose slowly, Lin Fan finally got up from the big bed in the coiling dragon villa. His phone rang. Lin Fan looked at the caller ID. It was a familiar number. Hello. Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm from the transportation company. We have some of your items. Do you still want to send them to Yiki City? A dull voice came from the phone. Lin Fan immediately thought of a person. A few days ago, he was the one who sent a truckload of Louis Vuitton bags and clothes. Lin Fan said, send them to the Coiling Dragon Villa complex. Do you know where it is? Is it the Coiling Dragon Villa complex that's by the lake? The driver asked. Yes, Lin Fan said. Okay, please wait a moment, I'll be there in about 15 minutes, the driver said. Lin Fan was not in a hurry. He walked to the bathroom and washed up. Just as he was about to take a break in the living room, his phone rang again. Mr. Lin, we're here, the driver's voice came from the phone. Lin Fan looked out the window. Sure enough, a tall truck had already stopped at the entrance. When the driver saw Lin Fan walk out, he said respectfully, Hello, Mr. Lin. It was no wonder that the driver would be like this. That was because he had delivered packages to Lin Fan twice. Every time, it was a truck full of expensive top-notch luxury goods. The power of such a person was simply unimaginable. As soon as he finished speaking, the driver opened the truck's door and revealed a truckload's worth of Gucci clothes and bags. Mr. Lin, are we going to put these things in this villa? Even though Lin Fan was already mentally prepared when he saw so many clothes and bags, he could not help but be dumbfounded. Yes, put them in the living room, he nodded after a while. All right. The driver responded and then moved the clothes and bags inside with two porters. Lin Fan thought for a while and casually took some bags and placed them in the Mercedes-Benz. In a short while, the entire living room was completely filled. After the driver left, Lin Fan did not have any intention of resting anymore. He turned around and drove the Mercedes-Benz G-Class toward Jiangbei University. Monday morning seemed to be more congested than at other times. Looking ahead, the roads were filled with densely packed vehicles. Lin Fan sat in the car feeling a little bored. He could not help but place his attention on the sign-in system. Do you want to sign in? Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained all the property rights of Zhenhu Yuding. Zhenhu Yuding was a famous residential building in the center of Jiangbei City. The environment of the neighborhood was excellent and the surrounding industries were rich. It was the ideal residence for many company bosses. There were more than 1,000 houses in the entire neighborhood. If each house cost 5 million yuan, the total value was about 5 billion. Lin Fan did some calculations and nodded his head slightly. It was not bad. When he turned his head, he saw that the front passenger seat was already piled with property ownership certificates and large keys. Lin Fan casually flipped through a few property ownership certificates. Zhenhu Yuding Building A, Unit 201, Area 125 square meters, Owner Lin Fan. Zhenhu Yuding Building A, Unit 202, Area 109 square meters, Owner Lin Fan. Then, Lin Fan looked at the congested road in front of him. After hesitating for a moment, he finally turned the car around and headed toward Lianjia Real Estate Agency not far away. At this moment, Han Tian was sitting in front of her desk, carefully flipping through the documents. When she unintentionally raised her head, her entire pretty face was filled with surprise as she shouted, Mr. Lin. Mr. Lin, please take a seat, I'll pour you a cup of coffee first. After saying that, she quickly got up and took out a box of beautifully packaged coffee from the cabinet. After brewing the coffee meticulously, she carefully brought it to Lin Fan. Han Tian had a special feeling about Lin Fan. He was rich, handsome, low profile, and well-mannered. The only pity was that he already had a girlfriend. Lin Fan did not know much about coffee and just took a sip. However, he could not help but nod his head. It was sweet and delicious, and the taste was indeed not bad. "Mr. Lin, what a coincidence that you're here," Han Tian said. "I was planning to send you the rental status of Washington Palace for last month." As she spoke, she handed over a stack of documents under the table. "The total rent is 800,000 yuan. If there's no problem, I can arrange for the finance department to transfer the money in the afternoon." Even though Lin Fan had the scanning ability and could read all the data in one glance, he still did not accept the information. "I won't look at the information, I believe you." Han Tian was touched. This involved nearly 1 million yuan, yet he trusted her so much. Lin Fan continued, "I'm here this time to rent out Zhenhu Yuding. Sure, our Lianjia has also rented out many units in Zhenhu Yuding." Lin Fan nodded his head and placed a large Gucci bag on the table. The bag was filled with property ownership certificates and keys. Seeing this, Han Tian could not help but be stunned. Mr. Lin, this. "Oh, I've bought the entire Zhenhu Yuding. Here are the property ownership certificate and keys. I'll be counting on you to help me rent it out in the future," Lin Fan said. His tone was so calm. However, Han Tian's ears buzzed like thunder. The entire Zhenhu Yuding. The average price there was about 40,000 yuan per square meter. Buying the entire building would cost at least a few billion. Now he was asking her to rent it out. Even if he could collect 100 million yuan in rent every year, it would take decades to recoup his losses. This was definitely not worth it. Then why did he do this? Lin Fan ignored Han Tian's thoughts and asked, "Do we need to sign a contract?" Alright, let's sign a contract," Han Tian said. As the printer made a squeaking sound, a warm contract appeared in Lin Fan's hands. Lin Fan casually flipped through it and signed his name. Then Lin Fan handed over 2 exquisite Gucci bags and said, "These 2 bags are for you." He looked at his watch and said, "It's getting late, I'll make a move first." He turned around and got into the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, heading toward Jiangbei University again. Han Tian was the only one left. She stood in place and stared blankly at the Mercedes-Benz G-Class that had left. In her mind, she could not help but recall the bits and pieces of her life with Lin Fan. Lin Fan specially invited her to Star Restaurant for a meal, to let her taste the delicacies. Lin Fan rented out the entire Zhenhu Yuding so that her work could go smoothly. Lin Fan gifted her 2 limited edition bags from Gucci, to let herself enjoy the luxury of branded goods. She was moved, happy, and blissful. All kinds of emotions kept surging in his heart. Her heart began to beat faster, and a blush appeared on her pretty face. At the same time, Lin Fan, who was driving the Mercedes-Benz, heard a clear notification in his mind. "Ding, charming aura has been activated. Invitation." At this moment, Lin Fan, who was waiting for the traffic light, heard the voice in his head, and his face was filled with confusion. "I triggered an unforgettable moment." Then he could not help but look around, but he did not find anyone nearby watching him. What was going on? Did he suddenly trigger charming aura? Lin Fan shook his head and could only put this matter aside for now. At this moment, the phone beside the seat rang. Lin Fan casually pressed the answer button in his car. Hello, Mr. Lin." A stiff voice came from the phone. Lin Fan said hello. When the person on the other end of the phone heard Lin Fan's reply, he paused for a moment. After a while, he continued with difficulty, Mr. Lin, I'm Oram, the chairman of Gucci. Welcome, Mr. Lin, you've become a shareholder of Gucci. Mr. Lin, do you like my gifts?" When Lin Fan received the Gucci bags and clothes, he was already mentally prepared for this call. Therefore, he was not too surprised. After all, he had a similar experience after obtaining 5% of LV's shares. "I like your gift, thank you," Lin Fan said. The other party was also giving gifts out of kindness. He still had to give him some basic etiquette. "Mr. Lin, Oram said happily, you're too polite. In the future I will still give you gifts." It was obvious that his grasp of Hua Nation's language was very ordinary. After a few more words, Orem hung up. At this moment, Lin Fan finally arrived at Jiangbei University. He sat in the classroom, occasionally looking at his laughing classmates, sometimes listening to the teacher's lecture and sometimes sleeping. Lin Fan felt extremely relaxed. During lunch, Lin Fan received 32,102 yuan from the red packets that arrived at 12 p.m. In the blink of an eye, the day's classes were over. At this moment, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket rang. He glanced at the caller ID and saw that it was Tan Shengyu, whom he had interacted with at the Ferrari Auto Show not long ago. "Brother Lin Fan, are you free tonight? I want to invite you and Sister Jiaxin to come and have a gathering," Tan Shengyu said bluntly. Tan Shengyu had helped Lin Fan at the auto show. Even though it was just a short interaction, Lin Fan felt that he was not bad. In addition, he did not have anything to do at night. "All right," he replied. Then Lin Fan looked at Song Jiaxin, who was packing her textbooks, and said, "By the way, have you invited Jiaxin?" "Not yet, you're the first one I called," Tan Shengyu said. "All right, you don't have to call Jiaxin, I'll go and talk to her," Lin Fan said. "All right, thank you, Brother Fan," Tan Shengyu said happily. Song Jiaxin was a big sister in the circle while Tan Shengyu was just a nobody. If he were to directly contact her, well, he was not confident. Now with Lin Fan's help, things could not get any better. After hanging up, Lin Fan walked towards Song Jiaxin. "Why is our great scientist here today?" Song Jiaxin smiled. The students sitting next to her all had strange expressions on their faces. One had to know. Song Jiaxin was usually unsmiling and was called an ice beauty by many people. Now she was actually teasing Lin Fan. It was unbelievable. Lin Fan said helplessly, "Don't tease me." Tan Shengyu said that he's organizing a party tonight and wants everyone to get together. "Do you want to go over tonight?" Tan Shengyu actually knows how to organize a party, how can I not go?" Song Jiaxin said. These words. If someone in the industry who was familiar with Song Jiaxin knew about this, they would probably be so shocked that their mouths would drop open. Song Jiaxin would only participate in some racing events. She rarely showed her face in other situations. Now she actually said that she wanted to join in the fun. Lin Fan nodded, "Then let's go together." Then the two of them walked shoulder to shoulder toward the parking lot. Song Jiaxin looked at the Pagani Huayra, Koenigsegg CCR and other cars in the parking lot and laughed. "This place is about to become your exclusive parking lot, huh?" Was that not so? Ever since Lin Fan parked his sports cars here, there were very few people who parked nearby. They were all afraid of accidentally bumping into Lin Fan's cars. At that time, even if they sold themselves, they probably would not be able to afford it. Lin Fan rubbed his nose and opened the door of the Pagani Huayra's gullwing car. He sat in it. Boom! After Song Jiaxin got in, Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator. Then the entire car flew forward like a beast. At this moment, Sun Luguo was sitting in the study holding a thick economics book. He was studying silently and taking notes from time to time. Most people would think that rich second-generation heirs would always be eating, drinking, and having fun. Actually, that was not the case. They often studied more than the average person and were more diligent. This was because most of them were very strong. They did not want to just inherit the family business of their family, but to let the family business develop better and better in their own hands. At this moment, Sun Luguo's phone rang out. He did not like to be disturbed when he was reading, so he could not help but frown. Sun Luguo looked at the caller ID and picked up the call. "Shengyu, what's the matter?" Tan Shengyu seemed to have heard the displeasure in Sun Luguo's tone. Therefore, he carefully said, "Young master Sun, I'm organizing a party today and would like to invite everyone to gather together. I wonder if you're free later." Sun Luguo's brows furrowed even more when he heard that. He said, "I have something to do tonight." All right, your matter is more important, so I'll just meet up with Brother Lin Fan and the others," Tan Shengyu said. Brother Lin Fan, which Brother Lin Fan are you talking about?" Sun Luguo hurriedly asked. The Lin Fan who raced on Donglai Mountain Road. That brother Lin Fan, replied Tan Shengyu. Sun Luguo put the book on the table. Where are you guys going to meet? He asked. Four seasons, heaven and earth, Tan Shengyu said hurriedly. Okay, I'll be there in a while, Sun Luguo said. After hanging up the phone, Brother Lin Fan's reputation is really big, Tan Shengyu muttered. He made young Master Sun change his mind. With this experience, he dialed Liu Yuhang's number. Young Master Liu, I'm organizing a party at Four Seasons today. Do you want to come over and gather together? Oh right, Lin Fan has already agreed to come over, Tan Shengyu said. Liu Yuhang's hearty laughter rang out from the other end of the phone. D*MN, is there a need to ask? Don't you know that I like lively places the most? Don't worry, I'll definitely be there later. All right, then I'll wait for young Master Liu, said Tan Shengyu happily. 162 Arrival, cheers. Liu Yuhang had a bold personality and liked to join in the fun. However, he would not casually attend parties. Tan Shengyu understood that the reason why he agreed was probably because of Lin Fan. In his heart, he could not help but raise Lin Fan's status even higher. Four Seasons, Heaven and Earth was a famous bar in Jiangbei. At this moment, many luxury cars such as BMW, Mercedes-Benz and Audi were parked in front of Four Seasons. There were also many luxury cars such as Porsches and Maserati, as well as supercars such as Ferraris and Lamborghini. Many beautiful women with hot figures were circling around the Ferrari, Lamborghini and other super sports cars like beasts looking for prey. Boom! After a loud rumble sounded in the distance, these beautiful women seemed to have heard the sound of prey and looked forward at the same time. They saw a cool-looking Pagani Huayra speeding over from afar. In the end, it stopped steadily. The hearts of all the beautiful women seemed to resonate with the rumbling sound of the Pagani Huayra. Their hearts began to beat rapidly as they slowly approached the car as if they were attracted by it. However, the next moment they all stopped in their tracks. A man and a woman walked out of the Pagani Huayra. Obviously, this meant that the target was no longer their prey. Song Jiaxin saw all of this and smiled. Lin Fan, how is it? Do you regret bringing me here? Why would I regret it? Lin Fan asked. If you didn't bring me along at this time, you might already be surrounded by many beautiful women, Song Jiaxin said. So you've become my shield, Lin Fan smiled. Shield. Song Jiaxin laughed. She often heard this phrase. However, this was the first time it had been used on her. At this moment, Tan Shengyu, who was standing at the entrance of Four Seasons, walked over quickly. Sister Jiaxin, brother Lin Fan, you're here, Tan Shengyu said. Yeah, are the others here yet? Song Jiaxin nodded and asked. Young Master Liu, Young Master Duan, Young Master Huang and the others are here. Young Master Sun and the others said that they'll be here soon, Tan Shengyu said. The three of them chatted as they walked. When they entered Four Seasons, Heaven and Earth, they could hear the booming music in their ears. The dazzling lights were in front of them and the many men and women were swaying crazily on the dance floor in the distance. The few of them continued to move forward and came to a large booth. Liu Yuhang and the others were drinking whiskey and swaying to the music. When they saw Lin Fan and Song Jiaxin, they stood up. Brother Lin Fan, we finally meet again. I missed you so much, Liu Yuhang shouted happily. At the same time, he opened his arms and was about to give Lin Fan a bear hug. However, Lin Fan dodged to the side and said, I only hug beautiful women, as for you, forget it. After saying that, Lin Fan even brushed off his arm. That appearance. It was as if he was trying to soothe his goosebumps. Seeing this, everyone burst into laughter. At this moment, Sun Luguo and two men of medium build walked in. When they saw Lin Fan and the rest, they could not help but say, everyone is so fast. You guys are too slow, Liu Yuhang said. Oh, so being fast is also an advantage, Sun Luguo said. Liu Yuhang raised his eyebrows as if he wanted to refute him again. The Sun family and the Liu family could be said to be mortal enemies. As a result, Sun Luguo and Liu Yuhang would fight whenever they met. Whether it was playing chess, racing, or drinking, both of them would step on each other. Lin Fan said almost everyone should be here, right? Sit down and relax. When everyone heard this, they also sat down. Eh? Then Tan Shengyu waved his hand in the distance. Soon, Manager Ma, who had his hair combed back and was wearing a suit, walked over with a smile on his face. "Young Master Tan, what can I do for you?" he asked respectfully. Obviously, Tan Shengyu was a regular here. Manager Ma recognized him at a glance. "Steak, snacks, and fruit platters, also 2 great dragons," Tan Shengyu said. When Manager Ma heard this, his face was immediately filled with smiles. One had to know. The Great Dragon was a set meal with 6 ace of spades. It cost a total of 100,000 yuan. 2 great dragons, even if the steak, fruit platters, and snacks were not counted, the cost would be 200,000 yuan. This was definitely considered a big deal. 2 great dragons, Liu Yuheng exclaimed. "Shengyu, how heroic." Eh? Although they were all young masters in the same circle, their money was not unlimited. Generally speaking, they only had 10 million yuan as pocket money every year. Some people had even fewer. Spending more than 200,000 yuan on a bar meeting was indeed generous. At this moment, a group of beautiful women with voluptuous figures and exquisite facial features walked over. They each had a bottle of ace of spades in their hands. From afar, they looked like beautiful fairies. At the same time, the DJ on stage shouted, "Congratulations to booth number 6 for welcoming 2 great dragons. Let us cheer for the VIPs in booth 6. Immediately, the entire 4 seasons, heaven and earth was filled with even more enthusiastic music. Everyone shouted and shook violently. Liu Yuheng opened a bottle of ace of spades and shouted, "Come, let's drink together." It had to be said that the bar was a very influential place. Everyone was drinking, listening to music, and shaking their bodies. At this moment, it was as if they had all forgotten their troubles and everything else. There was only happiness and joy left in their hearts. After drinking bottle after bottle of liquor, everyone was tired of dancing and shouting. Finally, it slowly stopped. Everyone sat in the booth and chatted with each other. It was quite relaxed and comfortable. "Let's have fun this time. Next time let's set up another car race," Liu Yuheng said. Duan Kaiyan, who was sitting across from him, looked dejected. "Duan Kaiyan, what's wrong?" Liu Yuheng asked. "Or did you not save enough money to buy a supercar?" Duan Kaiyan nodded helplessly. Logically speaking, those who could sit together were all rich young masters of similar status. It should not be a problem to save a little and buy a supercar. However, Duan Kaiyan was different. He had a good car, he used to race cars often and even put almost all his energy into racing. As a result, Duan Kaiyan even forgot about his grandfather's birthday. The old man was so angry that he confiscated his car and deducted 90% of his pocket money. Now Duan Kaiyan only had 100,000 yuan as pocket money every month. He could barely make ends meet. Liu Yuheng placed his hand on Lin Fan's shoulder and said, "If you want money to buy a car, you have to ask our brother Lin Fan. Brother Lin Fan, do you have any good projects that can help us earn some money?" Willful investment, mission triggered. Liu Yuheng had his reasons for saying this. He knew Lin Fan well, he had a few super sports cars. Furthermore, Lin Fan had a close relationship with the Zhou family in Jingbei. It was definitely a very easy thing to have a way to earn money. Everyone else present turned their attention to Lin Fan. From the start of the gathering, Liu Yuheng, Sun Luguo, Song Jiaxin, and Tan Shengyu had all gathered around Lin Fan. One had to know, these 3 people were all very influential people in the circle. To be treated like this, it was definitely not simple. As for Tan Shengyu, he was even trying to curry favor with Lin Fan at all times. Lin Fan thought about it and was about to speak. "Ding, mission triggered, get rich together, lead at least 3 people to earn more than 100 million yuan. Reward, 5 silver packets." When Lin Fan heard this, his eyes moved slightly. "Actually, I do have some ways to earn money," he said after a while. "Haha, I knew it," Liu Yuheng said happily. "Brother Lin Fan, hurry up and give us your guidance." Everyone else present was also interested. Lin Fan said, I obtained insider information about a batch of listed companies. If you believe me, you can give me some money to operate for 3 days. I don't dare to promise much, but I can guarantee a profit of more than 20%. Obviously, Lin Fan was prepared to use the 100 stock trend cards for the next 3 days. As for 20%, it was a very conservative statement. I believe you way too much, Liu Yuheng said excitedly. In his opinion, the Zhou family must be the ones who provided the insider information about these listed companies. What kind of family was the Zhou family? One of the top families in Hua Nation. How could the information they provided be fake? This was the best opportunity to earn money. If he missed it, he would definitely regret it for the rest of his life. Brother Lin Fan, is there a limit to the investment amount? Sun Luguo asked. Clearly he believed Lin Fan too. One had to know that Lin Fan was someone who had even saved Qin Weiming. How could he not believe his words? Lin Fan thought for a moment and said, it's best if it doesn't exceed 10 billion. He still remembered that after using the stock trend card for the next 3 days, the purchase amount of a single stock should be less than 1% of the stock's market value. With this calculation, it should not be a problem for him to buy less than 10 billion. Less than 10 billion. These words, everyone was shocked. Even though everyone's family assets were more than 10 billion yuan, most of them were just fixed assets. 10 billion yuan. They might not be able to take out that sum of money. Brother Lin Fan, do you want to play big? Sun Luguo asked. Not necessarily, it depends on you guys, Lin Fan said casually. Today's situation made Lin Fan and the others more familiar. Lin Fan felt that they were not bad people, there was also the system's mission. That was why he wanted to bring everyone along to earn some money. However, if everyone did not believe him, Lin Fan did not mind. Losing a mission was nothing. Liu Yuheng rubbed his chin. No more than 10 billion, I have to go home and discuss it with the old man and the others. By the way, Brother Fan, when are you going to start? I have to discuss it with the old master, Sun Luguo said. They all had to go home and discuss it with their elders. Obviously, they were prepared to make a big deal out of it. Did they really believe that Lin Fan had insider information about some listed companies? Was this kind of thing not usually a lie? Everyone looked at Lin Fan in shock. Song Jiaxin, who was beside him, said, since Lin Fan wants to make a move, then of course I can't miss it. I'll get my family to take out 500 million first. Let's see how much we can gather in a short period of time. She directly promised to give Lin Fan at least 500 million to invest. Everyone's jaws dropped. 500 million. This was definitely not a small number. Everyone present might be able to fork out 500 million. However, if all the money was lost, their family's capital chain would probably be completely broken. It was not impossible for a family to fall if they were not careful. Song Jiaxin trusted Lin Fan just like that. She really believed Lin Fan. Firstly, she believed in him. Secondly, she believed in Lin Fan's abilities. Song Jiaxin knew that Lin Fan had solved Zhou's conjecture, the twin prime number conjecture, and even invented the earthquake prediction device. He was definitely a great scientist. Would such a great scientist invest without confidence? As for stealing the money, that was even more unnecessary. This was because she was afraid that such a great scientist would lack money. If he needed it, countless people, even the country, would fight to give him money. The day after tomorrow, if you want to invest in me, just let me know. If you don't want to, it's okay, Lin Fan said. Duan Kaiyan said, there's still one more day. All right, I'll go back and gather some money first. I just don't know if I can persuade the old master. I need to go back and prepare. I need to discuss it too. Initially, everyone did not care too much about investments. However, seeing how serious Liu Yuheng, Sun Luguo and Song Jiaxin were, they were shocked. They were even willing to fork out hundreds of millions of dollars. They were also concerned. Today's party ended early because of the investment. At night, everyone returned to their respective homes. At this moment, other than Lin Fan, they were all pulled into a group called Future by Song Jiaxin. Song Jackson, Lin Fan said that within 3 days he can get at least 20% of the profits, but I believe that you guys aren't stupid. High returns always mean high risks. No one can predict the future. So, even if we don't get 20% of the profits in the end or even suffer losses, I hope nobody will jump out and blame anyone. If you're already prepared, then you can give the money to Lin Fan. If not, then don't give it to him. At that times, no one will say anything. Liu Yuheng said, Sister Jiaxin is right, we're all adults. We should be responsible for our own decisions. However, I believe in brother Lin Fan. Son Lu Guo, I just talked to the old man. I'll transfer 400 million yuan to brother Lin Fan tomorrow. Liu Yuheng, coincidentally, I'm prepared to transfer 500 million yuan to brother Lin Fan. Duan Kaiyan, brother Lin Fan is helping us earn money. Even if we lose money, we definitely won't say anything. The only pity is that my old man is still angry. I don't know how much money I can get tomorrow. Tan Shengyu, it's a little late today. I'm going to discuss it with the old man tomorrow. However, I've already decided to hand over all my savings over the years to brother Lin Fan. Brother Lin Fan, charge. Zhu Songqun, I can only discuss it with my family tomorrow. Zhang Ben, me too. 164 increase investment, start earning revenue. Lin Fan had no idea what was happening in the future group. At this moment, he arrived at the 25th floor of his residential building in Yiqi City. When Huang Ling and Qiu Ziqian saw Lin Fan, their faces were filled with smiles. Ever since Lin Fan bought the entire building in Yiqi City, they had not seen him for 2 days. Absence made the heart grow fonder. They were even happier when they met again. At night, the entire building belonged to them. O Epsilon. 3 Epsilon. The sun shone on the incense burner and produced purple smoke. From a distance, one could see the smoke form a waterfall that extended into a river. The next day, when Lin Fan opened his eyes, there was already a message on his phone. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,670,100 yuan was deposited into your account. He would earn more than 3 million yuan every day when he woke up. Then Lin Fan washed up and ate breakfast. He went to school and began his leisurely student life again. In the blink of an eye, it was 12:00 in the afternoon. The red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 10 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 19,999 yuan. It seemed like he had used up all his good luck a while ago. Lin Fan only received 42,119 yuan from today's red packets. In the afternoon, Lin Fan sat in his seat and casually looked at his phone. He would yawn from time to time. At this moment, Song Jiaxin slowly walked over. Lin Fan, my family has prepared 700 million. Liu Yuheng and Sun Lu Guo each prepared 600 million. Tan Shengyu prepared 100 million, Zhang Bin prepared 100 million, and Duan Kaiyan prepared 4 million. Which account should I transfer all of the funds to? Yesterday, Song Jiaxin said she would prepare 500 million, Sun Lu Guo said he would prepare 400 million, and Liu Yuheng said he would prepare 500 million. Today, the amount of money they prepared had increased. Clearly they trusted Lin Fan. My merchant bank account, said Lin Fan. Then Lin Fan wrote down his account number. All right, Song Jiaxin nodded. After Song Jiaxin left, Song Yi could not help but say, Brother Lin Fan, 700 million, 600 million, what's all that about? Zheng Jinbao and Ma Zhang pricked up their ears. Clearly, they were also very curious. Oh, money, Lin Fan said casually. Silence. The surroundings suddenly fell silent. They had heard it very clearly just now. One had prepared 700 million, two had prepared 600 million, two more had prepared 100 million, and one had prepared 4 million. In other words, Lin Fan would receive a total of 2.104 billion. What a terrifying number. It was an astronomical figure that they had never seen in their entire lives. In fact, they had never even seen 4 million before, let alone 2.104 billion. Lin Fan looked at their stunned expressions and could not help but laugh. They asked me to help invest this money. These words, he wondered if they had hurt him. They were still in a dazed state and had not recovered from their shock. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone vibrated. Notice from Merchant Bank, 2.104 billion yuan was deposited into your account. Seeing this, Lin Fan directly sent a message to Song Jiaxin, received. On the other hand, in the future group, Su Songqun and the others took the initiative to leave the group. After all, this was a group that was set up for the people who wanted to let Lin Fan help them invest. They were not investing, so they did not have the face to stay. Today, they told the elders about the investment. Some of them were short of money because their families had been tight on funds recently. Some people did not trust Lin Fan. Firstly, Lin Fan was too young. Secondly, they were not familiar with Lin Fan. Out of careful consideration, their family chose to give up on the investment. Su Songqun and the others did have some money in their hands, but it was only a few million yuan. They needed to spend money. In addition, they felt that it was a little embarrassing to invest such a small amount of money. Therefore, they simply did not invest. However, they did not know how much they would lose if they did not invest. Liu Zhenyu, Duan Kaiyan, not bad, you actually managed to get 4 million. Duan Kaiyan replied, I only got the 4 million yuan by pawning all the figurines I bought before, as well as the gifts my father and parents gave me. Liu Zhenyu F***ck, awesome. Duan Kaiyan, of course, I'm just waiting for brother Lin Fan to help me increase my value. Liu Zhenyu, if you lose the money, don't cry. Duan Kaiyan, it doesn't matter, those things are useless to me anyway. Sun Luguo, Tan Shengyu, Zhang Bin, have you explained the situation to your elders? You have to be responsible for all the profits and losses. No problem. My family has no problem with it either. Obviously, Liu Yuhang and Sun Luguo were helping Lin Fan by giving this reminder. After school, Lin Fan went straight to the Coiling Dragon Villa complex. Then he turned his attention to the system. Do you want to sign in? Yes. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained Jirai Office Building. Jirai Office Building was a high-end office building in the center of Jiangbei City. It was located near the Beijia building that Lin Fan obtained last time. According to the market price, it was worth more than 1 billion. Another office building, Lin Fan muttered, it's all right, I guess. He lay on the soft sofa and casually scrolled through his phone. Time flowed like water. In the blink of an eye, the sky turned dark. Lin Fan stretched and said, it's a little boring, forget it, I'll start managing my finances today. Do you wish to use the 100 stock trend cards for the next 3 days? Instantly, the charts of 100 stocks for 3 days appeared in Lin Fan's mind. Among them, there were 40 Hua Nation stocks and 60 American stocks. If it were an ordinary person, even if they knew the trend chart of these stocks, it would probably be difficult to maximize profits. However, Lin Fan was different. He had professor-level mathematics experience, so calculating these charts was as easy as eating for him. He easily knew how to get the most out of it. Lin Fan quickly logged into the M Nation stock account that he had already registered and transferred his 105,200,000, as well as Song Jiaxin, Sun Luguo, Liu Yuhang, Tan Shengyu, Zhang Bin, and Duan Kaiyan's 2,104,000,000 into the stock account. Then, at the right time, he would buy several stocks that had fallen to the lowest point in batches. This was because M Nation's stocks implemented the T+0 mechanism. Therefore, Lin Fan could sell these stocks near the highest point and buy them again when they were near the lowest point. This repeated over and over again. In just an hour, Lin Fan's funds had increased by 7%. Lin Fan was no longer interested in money. However, looking at the number that kept increasing, he still felt a trace of interest. Hence, Lin Fan spent the entire night working non-stop. When the day gradually brightened, the M Nation's stock market ended. Lin Fan's actions stopped as well. In just one night, Lin Fan's earnings had reached 50%. The stock account started with 3.156 billion. After one night, it had become 4.734 billion. Simply terrifying. 165 mission completed, huge profits. The next day, Lin Fan went to school as usual, listening to classes and sleeping. He did not buy any more Hua Nation stocks. Firstly, Hua Nation's stock market implemented the T+1 system and there was a 10% limit. Even if he bought the rare Earth-Sky board, his daily earnings would only be 20%. Furthermore, the 40 Hua Nation stocks that Lin Fan had obtained did not have the Earth-Sky board. Secondly, it was even better to gain from Country M. 2 days passed in the blink of an eye. These past 2 days, perhaps it was because they trusted Lin Fan, or perhaps it was because they did not want to give Lin Fan any pressure. Song Jiaxin, Liu Yuheng, Sun Luguo and the others did not come to ask about the situation. Lin Fan was happy. On the first day, Lin Fan earned 50% of the profits. On the second day, Lin Fan earned close to 70% of the profits. On the third day, Lin Fan earned close to 60% of the profits. These profits were not simply 50% plus 70% plus 60% equals 180%. Instead, it was the profit that was accumulated and superimposed each time. 1 5x1 7x1 6 equals 408. In other words, in just 3 days, the profit rate was close to 408%. At this moment, Lin Fan's account balance was 12.876 billion. Simply terrifying. It was a Saturday. Lin Fan slept for the entire morning and sent the investment transactions for the past 3 days to Song Jiaxin. Lin Fan, the investment is over. Screenshot, JPG, screenshot, JPG, screenshot, JPG. After a while his phone rang. Lin Fan had just picked up the phone when Song Jiaxin's anxious voice came from the other end. Lin Fan, what did you just send me? Lin Fan was puzzled. Didn't I explain? 3 days ago didn't you transfer me 2.14 billion, including my own 1.052 billion? The total investment portfolio is 3.156 billion. Then how did it become 12.876 billion yuan now? Song Jiaxin asked. It's an investment, I earned it, Lin Fan said matter-of-factly. As soon as he said that, the phone suddenly went silent. After receiving Lin Fan's affirmation, Song Jiaxin was completely stunned. She was born into a wealthy family like the Song family and had seen a lot of money. She had also seen many cases of investment profits. However, she was still shocked by Lin Fan's actions. 3 days. No. In 2.5 days, he had directly turned 3.1 billion into 12.8 billion. It had increased by 4 times. What a shocking profit. Even a robbery would not be this fast, right? If this matter was spread out, it would definitely shock a lot of people. Senior analyst, they should all stand aside. In fact, 3 days ago when she asked Lin Fan to invest the money, she felt that she would not lose out. However, she had never expected to obtain such a high profit. Lin Fan saw that there was no sound from the other end of the line. He coughed lightly and said, Jiaxin, are you still listening? I'm listening. Only then did Song Jiaxin react and quickly respond. Lin Fan said, I'll take 1/3 of the funds, which is 4.249 billion. Where should I transfer the remaining 8.627 billion? Do I send it back the way it came? It had to be said that Song Jiaxin was indeed the daughter of the Song family. After a short period of shock, she quickly recovered completely. The rest of the funds can be returned, Song Jiaxin said. All right, Lin Fan replied and quickly operated. Not long after, Song Jiaxin received a notification from her bank. Then she sent a message to the future group. Song Jiaxin, Lin Fan's investment has ended. He has already returned the capital and profits to my bank account. The total amount is 8.627 billion. You didn't read it wrong, it's 8.627 billion. Liu Yuhang was speechless. Sun Luguo F***ck. Tan Shengyu F***ck. Zhang Bin F***ck. Duan Kaiyan F***ck. The entire group was instantly flooded with comments. Sun Luguo 3 days, no, in 2.5 days our profit rate has reached more than 400%. Sun Luguo, am I dreaming? Liu Yuhang, are you dreaming? Simple, I'll just slap you and we'll know. In the past, Sun Luguo would definitely have argued with Liu Yuhang. Now he did not have such unnecessary thoughts. Sun Luguo, how did brother Lin Fan get such a high profit in such a short time? Song Jiaxin uploaded all the screenshots that Lin Fan had sent her into the group. Sun Luguo, this is simply unbelievable. That was because he had compared the nodes of each transaction and realized that Lin Fan had almost always bought at the lowest point and sold at the highest point. Such a concentrated operation, yet not a single one of them missed. This was simply, it was as if he could predict the future. However, Sun Luguo understood that it was impossible for anyone in this world to predict the future. The only explanation was that Lin Fan really had insider information about these listed companies and had excellent trading skills. However, what he did not know was that Lin Fan had the system and could really predict the future. Song Jiaxin, yes, unbelievable. Originally, Lin Fan could enjoy this wealth alone, but he took a huge risk and shared it with us. He did us a favor, he did it out of love, he did it out of righteousness. I don't want anyone to act out of line. No one can forget this act of kindness or bite the hand that fed us. Sun Luguo said, if such a thing happens, I'll be the first to not let them off. Tan Shengyu, I'll be the second. Liu Yuhang, then I'm the third. Tan Shengyu, that person would be the third. Liu Yuhang, alright, then I'll be the second one. Zhang Bin, we would never do such a thing. Duan Kaiyan, that's right. Hee, does that mean I can get 16 million? I think I can already see a Lamborghini waving at me, hahaha. Naturally, Lin Fan had no idea about the future group. At this moment, a clear notification sounded in his mind. Ding, mission completed, get rich together, lead at least 3 people to earn more than 100 million yuan. You've received 5 silver packets. When Lin Fan heard that, he sat up straight and said, have I finally completed the mission? Alright, let's see what we can get. Open the 5 silver packets. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1 million yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained the food critical hit card. Ding, congratulations, you've received 300,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 400,000 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 700,000 yuan. Lin Fan placed his attention on the food critical hit card. Food critical hit card. After eating, you can randomly receive 100 to 10,000 times the cashback reward. Seeing this, Lin Fan pursed his lips and said, these few silver packets are useless. Useless. If others heard this, who knew what they would think? From the 5 silver packets, he got a total of 2.4 million yuan. As for the food critical hit card, after eating, he could get a 100 to 10,000 times cashback reward. If he found an expensive restaurant, spent hundreds of thousands of yuan and received 1,000-fold return, he could directly obtain several hundred million. This was not good. Then Lin Fan turned his attention to the sign-in system. Sign in. Ding, you've successfully signed in, you've received 10 million yuan. Lin Fan sighed, 10 million again today, why am I so unlucky? For the past few days, Lin Fan kept earning 10 million yuan from the sign-in. In addition to the 3 million he earned from breathing, walking, and sleeping, his daily minimum income was more than 13 million. At this moment, Lin Fan's liquid funds had already reached 4.312 billion. This was a person's liquid capital. If others knew about this, they would definitely be shocked. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. He looked at the caller ID and realized that it was an unknown number from G City. G City. I don't think I know anyone there, right? Lin Fan was a little puzzled and slowly pressed the answer button. Hello, is this Mr. Lin? A low voice came from the phone. It's me, who are you? Lin Fan asked. Oh, I'm little Tanuki's Da-ma. Da-ma laughed casually as if he was a good friend of Lin Fan's and they had not seen each other for many years. Little Tanuki only had one Da-ma, and that was the chairman of Little Tanuki. He could definitely be called a legendary figure. If it was someone else who suddenly received a call from Da-ma, they would probably be shocked and incoherent. However, Lin Fan had recently received a call from the president of LV and Gucci, so he had some experience in talking to people at the president level. Therefore, he was not too surprised. "So it's President Ma." "Hello," Lin Fan said. "I just came back from a business trip a few days ago and found out that you've bought 5% of our little Tanuki Group's shares. It's my fault for not contacting you earlier. It's a little rude and I apologize to you," De Ma said. Lin Fan smiled. "Mr. De Ma, I don't mind it, it's just a small matter." "Haha, Mr. Lin, you sure are generous. I'm relieved to hear that," De Ma said happily. Then the two of them continued to exchange pleasantries. De Ma finally revealed the true purpose of this call. "By the way, Mr. Lin, tomorrow morning, Jiangbei will be holding an internet conference. Many large domestic internet companies will be attending. I'm going there too. I wonder if you're free to attend tomorrow. When the time comes, we can have a meal together. What do you think?" Internet conference. These few days when Lin Fan went out, he often saw relevant news about it at bus stops, LED screens, and other places. He was already curious. Lin Fan replied, "I'll go tomorrow." Okay, see you tomorrow then," De Ma said happily. Not long after Lin Fan hung up, his phone rang again. This time, it was an unknown number from Shen City. "Hello, Mr. Lin." The voice on the phone was very refined and gave off a classy feeling. Lin Fan said, "Hello. I'm Pony from Penguin Holdings. Thank you for your recognition of Penguin Holdings and for acquiring 5% of its shares," Xiao Ma said. He was just on the phone with Di Ma, and now Xiao Ma was calling him. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment before saying, "President Xiao Ma, you're too polite." Xiao Ma said, "I'm going to attend the internet conference in Jiangbei tomorrow. I wonder if you'd like to come and take a look. When the time comes, we can have a meal together. What do you think, Mr. Lin?" "No problem," Lin Fan said. After all, he had just promised President De Ma. There was nothing wrong with agreeing to President Xiao Ma's request, right? Wait a minute. He had already accepted President De Ma's invitation. Lin Fan seemed to have thought of something. Just as he was about to speak, he heard a commotion coming from the phone. "Thank you, Mr. Lin," Xiao Ma said. "I still have some things to take care of. See you tomorrow." Then he hung up. Lin Fan was left standing there hesitating. He had just promised President De Ma a meal, and now he had promised President Xiao Ma a meal. Forget it, they would all just eat together. At the thought of this, Lin Fan did not think any further. He looked around and frowned slightly. Lin Fan had been staying in this villa for the past few days to invest in the stock market. He had never been a person who paid much attention to cleanliness, so the entire villa had become a little messy. The area of each coiling dragon villa was more than 800 square meters. How could Lin Fan clean the place up himself? Would that not be too exhausting? Hence, Lin Fan took out his phone and searched for a good housekeeping company before making a call. "Hello, AI housekeeping at your service," a crisp and sweet voice came from the phone. After chatting for a while, Lin Fan hung up. About half an hour later, the doorbell rang. After Lin Fan opened the door, a beautiful woman with peach blossom eyes, willowy eyebrows, cherry lips, fair skin, and a voluptuous figure walked in slowly with a plastic basket in her slender hands. "Housekeeper AI at your service," the beauty said softly. Her voice was like the sound of spring water, crisp and pleasant to the ear. Lin Fan could not help but be stunned for a moment. He could not help but use his eye of truth to examine the other party. Appearance 95. Favorability 40. 95 points in appearance. Did all the housekeepers hire such good-looking people now? Was she preparing to do housework or something else? Seeing Lin Fan staring at her caused the pretty girl to blush and lower her head. "Are you Mr. Lin?" she asked. "Ah, it's me, housekeeper AI right, then come in and clean up," Lin Fan said. The beautiful woman heard him and followed him in. She changed into shoe covers and put on an apron. Initially, Lin Fan had thought that a beauty of this level would only be cleaning for show and that she did not have any good cleaning skills. However, Lin Fan observed for a while and realized that he was wrong. Whether it was wiping the table, mopping the floor, or tidying up the clothes, the beauty did everything meticulously and methodically. After a while, the table and the floor became like mirrors. The clothes were folded into squares, looking very pleasing to the eye. About 3 hours later, the entire villa looked brand new as if it had never been lived in before. Seeing this, Lin Fan's face was filled with satisfaction. Living in a brand new house was simply a pleasure. "Mr. Lin, do you think there's anything else that needs to be cleaned?" the beauty asked. Lin Fan shook his head. "No, you did a good job." "Thank you for your compliment, Mr. Lin," the beauty said. After she finished speaking, she was about to take off her apron and leave. At this moment, Lin Fan said, "Don't be in a hurry to leave. Do you know how to cook?" Huh, the beauty was stunned. 167 delicious, grandma's taste. These few days, Lin Fan had been trading stocks in the villa. For a moment, he suddenly had the urge to cook in the villa. Therefore, he bought a lot of groceries. When he bought them, he swore he would cook. However, after cooking a dish, he completely gave up on the idea of cooking. As a result, there was still a lot of food stored in his double-door refrigerator. Lin Fan saw that the beauty was stunned and said, "How about I charge twice the rate of housekeeping if you cook for me?" The beautiful woman hesitated for a moment before saying, all right." As the sound of water came from the kitchen, high-quality cabbage, premium lean meat, chicken, fresh prawns, ribs, the food was all prepared by the beauty. Then smoke appeared and a fragrance filled the air. Dishes with bright colors were served one after another. Lin Fan picked up a piece of rib and put it in his mouth. It was crispy on the outside and tender on the inside, full of fragrance. Then he tasted the cabbage, green pepper, and shredded pork. He also scooped a bowl of soup. Every dish tasted really good. Lin Fan could even taste Grandma's cooking in the food. Grandma's cooking. That was right. That was because Lin Fan lived in the countryside with his grandparents when he was young. When he was a child, all he could remember was the taste of his grandmother's food. At that time, his family was very poor. However, his grandparents were willing to suffer on their own and often prepared all kinds of meat dishes for Lin Fan to eat. As he tasted the food in front of him, Lin Fan could even hear his grandparents' voices. "Lil Fan, you're growing now, come eat more meat. Lil Fan, try this rib." As he thought about it, Lin Fan's heart could not help but ache. The beautiful lady saw Lin Fan staring blankly at the food that she had cooked. His eyes were red. She could not help but ask, "Sir, is the smoke too strong?" Lin Fan shook his head. "The food's too delicious." "Oh right, I forgot to ask, what's your name?" "My name is Su Ningjing," the beauty said softly. "Su Ningjing." He liked her name. Lin Fan said, "Su Ningjing, are you interested in coming to my place to do housework and cooking? The salary is 15,000 yuan per month. Also, you don't have to come to work every day, because I don't live here every day. But when I come over to stay, you can help me clean and cook. Of course, you can also stay here and help manage the villa." A salary of 15,000. Su Ningjing was completely stunned. One had to know. Su Ningjing's current salary was only 5,000 yuan per month. This was 3 times more. Moreover, she did not need to clean every day. She could even live in the villa. This was simply, it was as if a huge pie had fallen on her head. It made Su Ningjing feel surreal. Seeing that Su Ningjing did not answer, Lin Fan continued, "Su Ningjing, what do you think?" Only then did Su Ningjing say, I'm actually not a housekeeper for AI housekeeping." How Lin Fan's face was filled with puzzlement. "I'm the liaison officer for AI housekeeping. Our AI housekeeping has a rule that we have to provide door-to-door service within an hour. However, we were really too busy today, so I came out to help at the last minute," Su Ningjing replied. Lin Fan said, "But you seem to be quite skilled at cleaning. Have you been trained?" "I'm used to doing it at home," Su Enning said quietly. Lin Fan nodded his head. "Then what do you think of my suggestion?" Su Ningjing raised her head and quietly observed Lin Fan. In fact, this was not the first time she had observed Lin Fan. From the moment she entered the door, she had been very vigilant. It was because Su Ningjing knew that she was very beautiful and would easily meet bad people. She was not bragging, but similar things had happened many times before. Someone even suggested that he could support her by giving her 50,000 yuan a month. Su Ningjing's family background was not good, but she was a very self-respecting and self-loving person. When facing such bad people, she always kept a respectful distance. Ever since she came to the Coiling Dragon Villa, she noticed that Lin Fan was only a little surprised when he first saw her. After that, everything was normal. Right now, Lin Fan's tone was even calmer, devoid of any other desires. In addition, the price of 15,000 yuan was considered relatively reasonable. If Lin Fan had said that he would give her 50,000 or 100,000, Su Ningjing would have rejected him. All in all, Lin Fan really wanted her to help with the housework and cooking. However, Su Ningjing still hesitated for a moment and said, Can you consider it? Eh? If Su Ningjing knew that Lin Fan met women who were as good-looking as her every day, she probably would not need to consider it anymore. Of course you can, however it's best not to take too long, Lin Fan said. Lin Fan was willing to wait for a beautiful lady who could clean the place seriously and meticulously, cook delicious food, and was beautiful. Thank you, Su Ningjing said quietly. Then Lin Fan picked up another piece of food and put it into his mouth. He kept nodding. Lin Fan said, What are you standing there for? There are so many dishes, let's sit down and eat together. After you finish eating, you can clear the dishes and get off work. Don't worry, during this period of time I'll pay you twice the salary of a housekeeper. I'll eat later, Su Ningjing pinched her fingers and said. While I'm waiting you don't have to pay me, she said after a pause. Lin Fan was amused by Su Ningjing's serious look. He said, It's okay, sit down and let's eat together. Su Ningjing stood at the side with her head lowered and did not move at all. Lin Fan understood that she was a stubborn girl. He did not force her. For this meal, Lin Fan ate 2 big bowls of rice, drank 2 big bowls of soup and ate quite a few dishes. Only then did he walk to the sofa and sit down contentedly. When Su Ningjing saw this, only then did she pick up her bowl and chopsticks. She lowered her head and started eating silently. In order to save money, Su Ningjing ate noodles, steamed buns and salted vegetables every day. Therefore, even though the food was only a little warm, she ate happily. In the end, she finished all the remaining food. At the same time, her originally flat stomach completely bulged and she could not help but burp. With the sound of running water, all the cutlery and the kitchen were quickly cleaned up. There was not a trace of smoke. Using the word clever to describe her was the most appropriate. Lin Fan looked at the dark sky and said, It's getting late, let me send you back. No need, I can go back by myself, Su Ningjing said. 168 Internet Conference, a fantasy. Su Ningjing walked out of the Coiling Dragon Villa complex and came to the nearby bus stop. Only then did she realize that the bus had stopped running. Helpless, she could only continue moving forward. On the road, there were cars passing by from time to time. However, Su Ningjing did not seem to see them. She just lowered her head and kept walking forward. Honk honk. At this moment, a dazzling light suddenly appeared behind her, and a honk sounded. Su Ningjing could not help but turn around slowly. She saw a cool supercar parked behind her. The car window rolled down, revealing Lin Fan sitting inside. The buses have stopped running, why didn't you take a taxi? Lin Fan asked. My place isn't far, Su Ningjing lowered her head and said. It's not safe to walk alone at night, get in the car, I'll send you back, Lin Fan said. When Su Enning heard this, she immediately thought of the terrifying news of some girls encountering criminals when they walked at night. Thank you. After saying that, she got into the car. Boom. As Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator, the entire car sped away. It was obviously Su Ningjing's first time sitting in a supercar. She held onto the armrest tightly and a thin layer of sweat appeared on her pretty face. It felt as if the car could fly into the sky at any moment. About 20 minutes later, Lin Fan finally stopped at an old residential building. Is this where you live? Lin Fan asked. One had to know. There was no traffic jam at night. Lin Fan did not even wait for any traffic lights. Even so, he had to drive for nearly 20 minutes. If Su Ningjing had walked on her 2 legs, it would probably have taken at least 2 hours. Su Ningjing lowered her head as Lin Fan stared at her. Her face turned red. When Lin Fan saw this, he said helplessly, "All right, go on up." Thank you," Su Ningjing said softly.
Eh,
At this moment, Lin Fan was not too far away from teacher Tianxin's house. Therefore, he did not return to the coiling dragon villa and went straight to teacher Hu Tian's house. The doorbell rang, and teacher Tianxin walked out in her furry pajamas. Her hair was still a little wet, and it emitted a fragrance. Obviously, she had just taken a shower. "You're here," Hu Tian said happily, then she threw herself into Lin Fan's arms. Outside, she was a serious teacher. However, at home, she was a woman waiting for her lover. Since it was Saturday, there was no class tomorrow. Tonight, they were even more tired than usual.
eh,
The next day, a warm ray of sunlight shone on the windowsill. Lin Fan finally opened his eyes. At this moment, a very exquisite breakfast was already placed on the dining table in the living room. "Yes, the taste is still as delicious," Lin Fan praised. "If it's delicious, then eat more," Hu Tian said with a smile. Lin Fan nodded and stuffed a large mouthful of noodles into his mouth. He then asked, "By the way, I'm going to the internet conference later. Do you want to go with me?" "My understanding of the internet is limited to simple operations such as PowerPoint and online messaging. I won't join in the fun." Hu Tian shook her head and said, "I'll just stay at home and catch up on my sleep." As she spoke, Hu Tian could not help but yawn. Lin Fan agreed, "You were a little tired last night, all right, then you should rest well at home." Soon, Lin Fan finished a big bowl of noodles, 2 glutinous rice cakes, and a cup of soybean milk. Then, he drove the Lamborghini that he had driven over last night and headed toward the venue of the Internet Conference.
eh, eh,
This year's Internet Conference was held at the Exhibition Center in Jiangbei City. At this moment, the entire exhibition center was covered in flowers and colorful flags. Groups of men and women in suits and leather shoes were walking in. From time to time, they would make a sound of discussion. "President Zhang, long time no see." "Hello, President Liu." "CEO Huang, haha, that app of yours is really good, you have a bright future ahead of you." "You're really flattering me."
eh,
Among these people, there were big shots in the internet industry. They came with the goal of exchanging experiences and discovering new projects. There were also strivers and entrepreneurs on the internet. They hoped to meet the big shots here and at the same time seek the attention of the big shots for their projects. If they could get 1 or 2 big shots interested, then their company would take off instantly.
eh,
Among them was Kaio Shia, who had once gone on a blind date with Lin Fan. Kaio Shia was wearing a white shirt and black trousers today. She looked very capable. She looked at the internet big shots that often appeared on television and the internet in the distance, her entire face flushed with excitement. "Shia, do you remember everything about our products?" the bald man beside her asked. "Today's internet conference is very grand. It wasn't easy for us to get the time to go on stage to promote it. Even President De Ma and President Zio Ma will come personally. If we get their recognition, then our company can soar to the sky. Do you understand the importance of this?" During this period of time, in order to pay for her younger brother's school fees, Kaio Shia had to work very hard in the company. Her hard work was seen by the leaders. In addition, Kaio Shia's looks were not bad. The leaders felt that she could be considered for a bonus. That was why they chose her. "Please rest assured, I'll definitely complete the mission perfectly," Kaio Shia said solemnly. The bald man nodded in satisfaction. This internet conference involved many big shots. In order to prevent accidents, a security gate was set up at the entrance. Many people stood in front of the security gate to be checked.
iba,
When Kaio Shia walked through the security gate, like many people, there was a soft sound. Then, under the instructions of the security officer, she took out her phone, wallet, and other items. While she was being checked, she unexpectedly saw a familiar figure walking straight through the VIP passage. "Lin Fan," Kaio Shia muttered softly. "All right, you can go in now," said the security officer. "All right," Kaio Shia replied. The bald man behind her seemed to have noticed that Kaio Shia was a little distracted and could not help but ask, "Did you see someone familiar?" Kaio Shia shook her head. "Was it a blur?" "That was right." This was what Kaioshiya thought. One had to know. Only a few internet tycoons were qualified to walk through the VIP channel. As for Lin Fan, he was just a real estate agent. Him taking the VIP passage. That was simply a fantasy. 169 Regret Sadness. In the venue, the crowd surged, and it was extremely lively. Everyone chatted as they walked, not willing to miss any opportunity to make friends. After all, such an opportunity was too rare. A moment later, everyone found their seats and sat down. At this moment, a man in a suit with smooth hair and a medium build slowly walked onto the stage. Welcome, everyone. You've come from all over the country and from thousands of miles away to participate in the internet conference. The man in the suit first gave an opening speech on the stage. He seemed to have noticed that no one was interested in his words. Hence, he quickly got to the main topic. Perhaps some people are not very clear. More than 10 years ago, President De Ma of Little Tanuki Group and President Xiao Ma of Penguin Group also participated in the internet conference. Moreover, they even chatted on stage for a long time. Today, we're fortunate enough to invite both presidents again. I wonder what they'll say today. President De Ma and President Xiao Ma, please come on stage. Immediately, the entire venue erupted into extremely enthusiastic applause. De Ma and Xiao Ma could be said to be legendary people. The reason why many of them chose the internet industry was because of their admiration for them. Now that their idols were about to go on stage, they naturally welcomed them. More people wanted to get the favor of both presidents, wanting them to invest in their own companies. Clapping might deepen their impression of them, so naturally the harder they clapped the better. Amidst everyone's cheers, both presidents finally walked onto the stage. De Ma said the host was right. President Xiao Ma and I did stand on the stage together more than 10 years ago. It's fate that we can come up again today. But there's something different. Back then, President Xiao Ma and I were just newcomers to the internet world. We didn't chat on stage for long, we only said a few words before we were chased aside. The crowd immediately burst into laughter. It had to be said that the fact that De Ma could become a big shot in the current internet industry was indeed due to his ability. With just a few words, the originally serious internet conference became much more relaxed. Xiao Ma said, President De Ma is right. If I remember correctly, we probably just exchanged 4 sentences. After that, we went down. It can also be considered as us just showing our faces. We showed our faces and spent more than 10 years to reach our current level. Therefore, the internet conference is a very good platform. Today, if you have the chance, come and show your faces and say a few more words. You'll definitely be better off than us in the future. The two of them chatted for a while on the stage before getting ready to leave. At this moment, there was the sound of brisk footsteps in the distance. Lin Fan walked in slowly. Seeing this, De Ma and Xiao Ma's eyes lit up slightly. They had always been curious about the person who had bought 5% of their company's shares. He had long wanted to meet him. Then De Ma and Xiao Ma walked up together and took the initiative to extend their hands. They smiled and said, Hello, Mr. Lin. This scene. Everyone in the venue saw it. Everyone was shocked and guessed Lin Fan's identity. He was greeted by 2 internet tycoons at the same time, and he looked so young. It was hard to imagine. Actually, this was normal. After all, President De Ma only held 8% of his company's shares while Lin Fan held 5%. He became the 3rd largest shareholder. President Xiao Ma only held 4.8% of the company's shares while Lin Fan held 5%. From this point, Lin Fan even held more shares than President Xiao Ma and was the 2nd largest shareholder of the company. Lin Fan's principle was that he would respond to how others treated him. Now both presidents greeted him and took the initiative to shake his hand. In that case, he definitely could not be rude. Hence, Lin Fan stretched out his left and right hands at the same time and shook hands with the 2 presidents. Kaioshiya, who was sitting at the back, had seen the entire process of President De Ma and President Xiao Ma walking off the stage and Lin Fan shaking hands with them. Her eyes widened as if she had seen a ghost. What was the status of De Ma and Xiao Ma? They were the undisputed leaders of Hua Nation's internet industry. They were super-rich men worth hundreds of billions. They actually took the initiative to welcome Lin Fan and shake his hand. What was going on? Then Kaio Shia suddenly thought of the first time they met, the blind date. Lin Fan drove a Lamborghini and said that it was his car, but she thought that it was rented. The second time they met, it was at Lionjia Real Estate Agency. Lin Fan took out a pile of real estate certificates for Washington Palace and said that the houses were his, but she thought that he was a real estate agent.
They,
Then, in front of the Coiling Dragon Villa complex, Lin Fan said that all the villas were his. She just thought that he was bragging. However, now, President De Ma and President Xiao Ma were treating him with respect. Perhaps was what Lin Fan said true. In an instant. Regret. Endless regret. Like a tide, it surged into Kaio Shia's heart. Endless sadness spread throughout her entire body. If she had not despised Lin Fan during the blind date, she would not have had to work so hard these past few days. In fact, she would already be driving a luxury car and living in a villa. She would be greeting and shaking hands with President De Ma and President Xiao Ma. Shia, you're next, get ready, the bald man beside her reminded her in a low voice.
they,
However, at this moment, Kaio Shia's heart was filled with regret and sadness. She did not hear the bald man's words clearly. At this moment, the round-faced man standing on the stage said, "Thank you, everyone." Immediately, the crowd burst into loud applause. The bald man saw that Kaio Shia was still in her seat and did not move. He could not help but push her and say, "Why are you still sitting? It's your turn, go up quickly." Only then did Kaio Shia react. However, her expression was still a little wooden and she did not have the enthusiasm she had at the beginning. Next, let's welcome Kaio Shia, the spokesperson of Chemo Software, onto the stage, the host said. Kaio Shia was like a walking corpse. After spending a lot of effort, she finally walked onto the stage with difficulty. She looked down and easily saw Lin Fan sitting next to President De Ma and President Xiao Ma in the first row. Instantly, the bitterness and regret in her heart became even stronger. Kaio Shia had something on her mind and was in no mood to give a speech. The effect of her speech was self-evident. She stuttered and even said the wrong numbers often. When she left the stage, if not for some people's politeness, there would have been a burst of sparse applause. If the audience had not bothered to be polite, her speech would probably be ignored. 170 No job, treat you all to dinner. After Kaio Shia returned to her seat, the bald man immediately shouted angrily. Kaio Shia, didn't you make a guarantee back in the company? Is this how you're fighting for a promotion? Let me tell you, your bonus and job are all gone.
they,
The bald man grunted and walked out. Originally, the company participated in the internet conference to make friends, and the speech on stage was to make the company proud. Now it had the opposite effect. It was simply too embarrassing. The bald man did not have the mood to stay any longer. Kaio Shia only came back to her senses after hearing the bald man's words. His bonus and job were gone. Her younger brother was still renting a house that cost 30,000 yuan a month. What should he do? At the thought of this, Kaio Shia hurriedly said, Manager, please wait a moment." However, the bald man did not seem to hear her at all and continued to stride away.
they,
Lin Fan did not pay any attention to Kaio Shia's matter. At this moment, he was sitting in the first row, quietly listening to the people who were speaking on stage. It had to be said that these people who could go on stage did have some ability. While they went on stage to promote their companies, they also talked about a lot of online knowledge. Lin Fan had professional hacking skills, so he could understand all of this. Furthermore, he listened with great interest. A day of speeches passed in the blink of an eye. The sun was setting. President De Ma and President Xiao Ma said in unison, "Mr. Lin, let's go have a meal together." The two of them looked at each other, and their expressions were as usual. However, they were a little wary and nervous. One had to know. Penguin and little Tanuki, it could be said that they were the only two internet giants in Hua Nation. However, there was no room for two tigers on the same mountain. The two companies maintained a highly competitive relationship at all times. Now that Lin Fan had acquired 5% of both Penguin's and Little Tanuki's shares, it was obvious that he had immense strength. As such, Lin Fan's attitude was extremely important. What if Lin Fan leaned toward one party? Then that was definitely not good news. Lin Fan could feel the tension between the two of them. Rubbing his nose, he said, "I've always been in Jiangbei. I'm also the host here. I'll make the arrangements today. I'll treat all of you to a meal. How about that?" De Ma and Xiao Ma looked at each other and nodded in unison. "Then I'll have to trouble you, Mr. Lin." Then a large group of people strolled to the parking lot. Lin Fan sat in his Lamborghini. De Ma, Xiao Ma, and the big shots of many internet companies behind them got into Rolls-Royce, Bentley, Maybach, Mercedes-Benz, and other cars. Then Lin Fan led the way. This scene. Coincidentally, everything was seen by Kaio Shia, who was in a daze from afar. "So he really didn't rent that Lamborghini," she said dejectedly. At this moment, Kaio Shia's phone rang. "Shia, how did you do at the conference today? Is your company going to give you a big bonus soon?" As soon as she picked up the phone, she heard her mother, Chen Minfin's, excited voice. "How was the conference?" "Bonus." These words were like steel needles that stabbed into Kaio Shia's heart. Finally, hot tears flowed out of her eyes. "Boo-hoo."
They,
"Shia, why are you crying? Did someone bully you? Quickly tell me." "Mom, I've been fired and my bonus is gone," Kaio Shia said. "What?" Chen Minfin shouted. "How could this be? You lost your job and your bonus, then what about your brother's studies?" "Boo-hoo." When Kaio Shia heard this, she cried even harder.
they,
Regarding these, Lin Fan had no idea. At this moment, the luxury cars led by him formed a beautiful scenery on the road in Jiangbei. Everywhere they passed, people would look at them with admiration. Soon they arrived at Jiangbei Hotel.
they,
Even Jiangbei Hotel was shocked to see so many luxury cars from afar. The attendant quickly reported the situation to the manager, Zhang Shanfeng. Zhang Shanfeng's eyesight was much better than ordinary people's. He recognized the group of people who got out of the luxury car at a glance. President of Buying Group, President of Hungary, President of Weibo, President of UA Browser, President of Jindong. There was also President De Ma and President Xiao Ma. How powerful was this group of people? Today they suddenly came to Jiangbei Hotel. Fortunately, Zhang Shanfeng was also a person who had seen many big scenes. He quickly reacted and quickly went up to meet them. At this moment, he realized that Lin Fan was also among the presidents. At this moment, Lin Fan saw Zhang Shanfeng and smiled. "Manager Zhang, you're here. We want a bigger private room. Is there any available?" Jiangbei Hotel was popular all year round. Generally speaking, private rooms had to be reserved in advance. Furthermore, it was a big private room. However, Lin Fan was not an ordinary person. Yes, Zhang Shanfeng hurriedly replied. "We have the best private room in Jiangbei Hotel." Then, under Zhang Shanfeng's lead, the group strolled to room 888 on the top floor of Jiangbei Hotel. Last time, Lin Fan and the leaders of Jiangbei had eaten in this room. No matter how crowded the restaurant was or how popular the place was, this private room would usually not be open to the public. This was because this was a luxurious private room reserved for distinguished guests. Lin Fan, De Ma, Xiao Ma, and the other directors were obviously important guests. Everyone chatted as they walked. Only then did Zhang Shanfeng notice that Lin Fan was actually chatting happily with President De Ma and President Xiao Ma. In fact, President De Ma and President Xiao Ma seemed to be trying to please Lin Fan. Moreover, the reason why they came to Jiangbei Hotel today was that it was arranged by Lin Fan. This could not help but shock Zhang Shanfeng even more. The officials, Old Master Qin Weiming, as well as the leaders of Jiang Province and Jiangbei were all very polite to Lin Fan. They even attended Lin Fan's grandfather's birthday banquet in person. This was already very impressive. Now, in the business world, Lin Fan actually had such a huge reputation. One had to know. Even if many big shots went to their company to inspect, they might not be able to see them. Now he had gathered so many at once. Especially President de Ma and President Zio Ma, who were the absolute giants in the country. They were two people who were at loggerheads with each other. How could they be sitting at the same table today? This was simply something unimaginable and inconceivable. All of this was because of Lin Fan. Room 888. Under the unanimous request of President de Ma and President Zio Ma, Lin Fan finally sat in the innermost seat. Their reason was simple. Lin Fan was the host here. De Ma and Zio Ma sat on the left and right respectively. After that, it was the president of Jindong, the president of Weibo, the president of Buying Group, the president of Hungary, and the president of UA Browser. The entire table was filled to the brim. Normally, these people would view the other party as a thorn on their side. Who would have thought that they would be able to sit together today? Even the manager, Zhang Shanfeng, who was used to seeing big scenes, could not help but feel his throat go dry. Not long after, exquisite dishes were served by Zhang Shanfeng himself. President de Ma first sniffed, then tasted the dish and immediately praised, "Yes, it smells really good." "It's delicious," President Zio Ma said at the right time. The president of Jindong and the others also picked up their chopsticks and nodded. Obviously they were very satisfied. When Lin Fan saw this, he said happily, "As long as everyone likes it." President de Ma said, "Of course we like it. In the past, I often heard people praise the food here, however, I never managed to try it for myself. Today, I finally understand that all the food I've had at other places simply isn't authentic. Thank you, Mr. Lin, for letting me eat authentic dishes. Let me toast you." As he spoke, President de Ma personally raised his glass and downed it. It had to be said that it was definitely not a coincidence that de Ma was able to succeed. Just his eloquent mouth alone was enough to surpass countless people. "You're too polite, President de Ma," Lin Fan said. President Zio Ma could not help but say, "Mr. Lin, thank you for your trust in our penguin group. Let me toast you too." As soon as he finished speaking, President Zio Ma also drank a glass of wine. Although Zio Ma was not as good at talking as De Ma, his skill level was far beyond that of others. After the two big shots drank, the scene immediately became very lively.
Hey.
Today's meal lasted until 10:30 p.m. At this moment, everyone's faces were flushed red, and their mouths were a little open when they spoke. Of course, Lin Fan was fine. His expression remained the same, and there was not even a hint of alcohol on his body. This was normal. One had to know that Lin Fan had the drinking gentleman's skill. He would not get drunk even after drinking 1,000 glasses. The wine in his stomach was almost completely absorbed in an instant. Moreover, he was the host today, who dared to force him to drink. When Lin Fan walked out of Jiangbei Hotel, a crisp notification sounded in his mind. "Ding, you've completed the hidden mission Trillion Party. You've received 5 silver packets." Trillion Party. Lin Fan was stunned. He suddenly completed another mission. Trillion Party. Lin Fan thought for a moment and knew what it meant. President de Ma, President Zio Ma, the president of Jindong, the president of Weibo, the president of Buying Group, the president of Hungary, the net worth of these people added together was definitely more than trillions. Was this not the Trillion Party then? He had just casually eaten a meal and completed a mission. Not bad. It was quite late now, so Lin Fan did not go to teacher Tianxin's house or Yiqi City. Instead, he went straight to Coiling Dragon Villa. Then he turned his attention to the silver packets. "Open the 5 silver packets." "Ding, congratulations, you've received 500,000 yuan." "Ding, congratulations, you've received 100 million Sharkstream coins." "Ding, congratulations, you've received 800,000 yuan." "Ding, congratulations, you've received 100,000 yuan." "Ding, congratulations, you've received 120-carat natural diamond." Lin Fan pursed his lips. Why are they all useless things? Useless things. If others knew about this, who knew what they would think? 1.4 million in cash was something that many people would not be able to earn in a few years. 100 million Sharkstream coins, according to the market value, was 1 million yuan. As for a 20-carat natural diamond, the lowest price was more than 10 million. If it was of good quality, it was normal for it to be worth more than 100 million. The diamond that Lin Fan had obtained was bright in color. It was obviously of the best quality. Then Lin Fan turned his attention to the sign-in system. Sign in. Ding, you've successfully signed in. You've received 10 million yuan. As expected, my good luck from before has been used up, Lin Fan sighed.
Wait.
At this moment, Su Ningjing, who had been busy all day, finally finished washing her clothes. Although she was tired, she never complained. At this moment, her phone on the bed rang urgently. Su Ningjing looked at the caller ID. It was a call from her grandmother in the mountains. It was already so late, Granny should have gone to bed long ago. Why did she call? Su Ningjing pressed the answer button with a trace of doubt. Sister, bad news, Granny is sick. Boom. This sentence was like a thunderbolt that bombarded Su Ningjing's heart. Su Ningjing and her sister had been raised by their grandmother since they were young. They had a good relationship with their grandmother. Now that the old lady had suddenly fallen ill, how could she not be sad? How's Granny? Su Ningjing asked hurriedly. Did you send her to the hospital? I'm already at the hospital, but the doctor said that it'll cost 80,000 yuan to perform the surgery. The money you sent home in the past, there's only a total of 40,000 yuan left, Su Ningjing's younger sister said with a sobbing tone. I still have 10,000 yuan here, I'll send it to you now. As for the rest, Su Ningjing said quietly, as for the rest, wait for me first. After hanging up, she quickly transferred 10,000 yuan to her sister. Then Su Ningjing paced around anxiously. 30,000. For many people, 30,000 yuan was nothing. However, to Su Ningjing this was a huge sum of money. It was a huge sum of money that was enough to overwhelm her. Many figures appeared in Su Ningjing's mind. In the end, it suddenly stopped on Lin Fan, who had sent her back yesterday. After hesitating for a long time, Su Ningjing finally made the call. After a while, the call was connected. Hello, Lin Fan asked curiously. Hello, Mr. Lin, Su Ningjing said nervously. Even though they were separated by the phone, Lin Fan could easily tell who the other party was. Oh, Su Ningjing, right? Do you want to be a full-time housekeeper and cook here? Lin Fan asked. Yes, Su Ningjing said, that's right. All right, come over tomorrow morning, Lin Fan said. Su Ningjing said nervously, Mr. Lin, can I have 2 months' salary in advance? 172, lend it, congratulations. 2 months' salary in advance. That was 30,000 yuan. Lin Fan did not hesitate and said, all right. It was not that Lin Fan liked to be a sucker. It was because he had easily discovered that Su Ningjing was a kind and simple girl when he interacted with her. Lin Fan believed that she would not cheat him of his 30,000 yuan. Besides, if Su Ningjing really had a problem with her character, spending 30,000 yuan to expose her true colors was much better than letting her stay in his villa all the time. Su Ningjing did not expect Lin Fan to agree to her request. Less than a minute after she hung up, her phone vibrated slightly. Notice from Merchant Bank, 30,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Seeing this, Su Ningjing quickly sent a message to Lin Fan, thank you. Then she quickly transferred the 30,000 yuan she had just received to her sister. It was nighttime. It was rare for Lin Fan to sleep alone. The next day the sun was high in the sky, and the birds were chirping by the window. Lin Fan opened his eyes slowly. He had slept too comfortably last night. He casually picked up his phone and a text message appeared on the screen. Notice from Merchant Bank, 1,350,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Then Lin Fan turned his attention to the sign-in system. Sign in. Ding, congratulations on signing in successfully. You've received 10 million yuan. Lin Fan yawned and sighed, another 10 million. After washing up, he slowly opened the door of the villa. At this moment, a beautiful figure stood at the door. It was Su Ningjing. Today, Su Ningjing was wearing an apron. Her exquisite facial features were as clear as jade under the distant sunlight. Her delicate figure did not look bloated because of the loose apron. Instead, she looked even more plump and perfect. Her long black hair fluttered in the wind. Perhaps this was the case when a fairy stood at the door. Lin Fan was stunned for a moment. Then he looked at the beads of sweat on her snow-white face and asked, "You haven't been waiting at the door this whole time, have you?" Su Ningjing did not say anything and just lowered her head silently. Lin Fan said helplessly, "Remember to ring the doorbell next time." He told Su Ningjing the password to the villa and gave her 50,000 yuan for groceries. Then he drove the Lamborghini to Jiangbei University. As soon as he entered the gate, a bright banner appeared in front of him. "Congratulations to our school, Lin Fan, for deducing economics formulas and theories." Lin Fan thought for a moment and understood that Qin Yuxuan must have written the formula into a thesis and successfully published it on ECTA. Regarding this, he was not too surprised. This was because he believed in his own deduction and Qin Yuxuan's thesis ability. After parking the car, he met Counselor Sun Yaedong. "Lin Fan, good job, haha, you're really giving our class too much face." Sun Yaedong put his hand on Lin Fan's shoulder and shouted excitedly. Lin Fan was completely immune to Counselor Sun's compliments. However, Lin Fan still had a weird look on his face. It seemed like every time he won an award or achieved something, the first person he met when he came to school was Counselor Sun. What a coincidence. Sun Yaedong did not care too much. He put his hand on Lin Fan's shoulder and walked toward the classroom with a smile. At this moment, the classroom was already filled with people. It was very lively. This was because Teacher Tianqian had class this morning. Cough, cough. Sun Yaedong walked to the podium and coughed lightly.
Wait.
Only then did the students quieten down. However, their faces were slowly filled with doubt. What was going on? Was it not Teacher Tianqian's class in the morning? Why was Counselor Sun here? Could it be that they changed classes? No. It was not easy for them to get good seats. Sun Yaedong said, "Let me tell everyone a piece of good news. Student Lin Fan from our class has successfully derived the economics formula and theorem. With this result, there might be a Nobel Prize winner in economics in our class." Whoosh. Silence. The entire classroom was silent.
Wait.
Everyone's faces were filled with disbelief. Although they were mathematics students, they did not know much about economics formulas and theories. However, the Nobel Prize in economics could be said to be thunderous. To put it more clearly, any award with the words Nobel Prize represented the highest standard. Now their classmate, someone was going to be a Nobel Prize winner. How could they not be surprised? "Everyone give him a round of applause," Sun Yaedong shouted. Almost reflexively, all the students applauded. The entire classroom immediately burst into thunderous applause. Seeing this, Sun Yaedong nodded in satisfaction, then turned around and walked out. Not long after he left, Teacher Tianqian arrived. In the past, once Teacher Tianqian walked into the classroom, everyone's attention would definitely be on her. However, today was different. The students' thoughts were still stuck on the fact that Lin Fan was about to win the Nobel Prize in economics. Teacher Tianqian's teaching method was as relaxed and carefree as usual. The class passed in the blink of an eye. After class, Song Yi could not help but say, "Brother Lin Fan, did you really derive the economic formulas and theories? You're going to win the Nobel Prize." Ma Zhang, Zheng Jinbao, and the students sitting around them all pricked up their ears. Obviously, they were also very concerned about this. Lin Fan looked at how concerned they were and could not help but laugh. "I don't know if I'll win the Nobel Prize, but I did derive the economics formulas and theorem," Lin Fan said. Buzz. Even though Tutor Sun had already said it, after Lin Fan admitted it, everyone was still shocked. "Lin Fan, how did you derive the economic formulas and theorem?" Ma Zhang asked. "I don't think I've seen you study it." After all, they were not only classmates but also roommates. They were indeed qualified to say such words. Lin Fan said, "Do I need to study this? It's very simple. When I saw the economics professor at Madu University giving a lecture, there was a problem with her calculations, so I casually corrected her. Then, I deduced the formula." Was there still a need for research? It was very simple. He casually pointed out the calculation problem of the economics professor at Madu University. He deduced the formula. Listen, listen. Was this human language? He was simply the god of studies. Song Yi, Ma Zhang, Zhang Jinbao, and the others heard Lin Fan's words and their mouths were half open. They were dumbfounded and did not know how to respond. After all, humans were not qualified to talk to gods and immortals. 173 The old professor's thoughts, asking for contact information. At noon, 12 p.m., Lin Fan received 42,788 yuan from the red packets. Then he started his afternoon classes again. The old professor had classes in the afternoon. Even though Lin Fan slept well yesterday, as the old professor began to slowly lecture, Lin Fan fell asleep very quickly. Almost every time, Lin Fan would fall asleep in the old professor's class. At first, the old professor thought that Lin Fan was studying hard at night. That was why he kept sleeping in class. However, as the number of classes increased, the old professor realized that Lin Fan was sleeping every time. The old professor could not help but feel puzzled. Could it be? Lin Fan was burning the midnight oil every night to study. That should not be possible, right? At this moment, the old professor realized that his previous thoughts were really wrong. He actually doubted Lin Fan. He suspected someone who had solved Zhou's conjecture, the twin prime number conjecture, and invented the earthquake prediction device. This time, Lin Fan even derived the economic formulas and theorem. He actually suspected the effort of a genius like him. The old professor felt guilty. He put down his book and walked to Lin Fan's side. Just like before, he covered Lin Fan with his coat. At the same time, he thought to himself, from now on, I'll never doubt Lin Fan in the slightest.
Eh?
Lin Fan had no idea about the complicated psychological changes of the old professor. When he woke up, it was already the end of school. Lin Fan habitually looked at his phone. A WeChat message had already appeared on the screen. Teacher Tianxian, come to my house for dinner tonight. After that, we'll discuss questions. Discuss questions. When Lin Fan saw these words, his heart burned with passion. He did not stop at all and drove the Lamborghini out. A crisp bell rang. Hu Tian slowly opened the door. At the same time, the fragrance of food wafted over. Lin Fan looked at the colorful dishes on the table and praised, "It smells so good." You came just in time. Wash your hands and let's eat together, Hu Tian said with a smile. Garlic shrimp, steamed fish, sweet and sour pork ribs, chicken soup. It was very sumptuous. Then Hu Tian took out a bottle of red wine and poured it into 2 glasses. There seemed to be a sweet fragrance in the air. It was very pleasant to the nose. Congratulations on successfully deriving the economic formula and theorem. Hu Tian raised her glass. Even though Lin Fan did not really care about this at all, he still raised his glass happily and said, "Thank you, Teacher Tianxian." He gently swirled the wine glass and slowly poured it into his mouth. Skill, drinking gentleman, charming aura. Hu Tian's beautiful eyes looked at Lin Fan without blinking. There was even a faint glow in her eyes. Her pretty face started to heat up, perhaps because she had just drunk some wine or because it was too hot when she was cooking in the kitchen just now. Hu Tian took a while to recover before exhaling a mouthful of fragrance and saying, "Lin Fan, when did you start studying economics?" Lin Fan smiled, "I just deduced the formula, I didn't study economics." Hu Tian accepted this much easier than Ma Zhang and the others. The 2 of them continued to chat and eat, occasionally drinking a few mouthfuls of red wine. Gradually, Hu Tian's pretty face became redder and her breathing became warmer. She tugged at her clothes and tried to make herself feel more refreshed. However, her speed was a little too slow. Hence, Lin Fan helped out as well. The night gradually deepened.
Eh?
For the next few days, Lin Fan would be in class during the day. At night, he would go to Yaqi City to look for Huang Ling, Qiu Ziqian, or Teacher Tianxian. His days were relaxed and carefree. For the past few days, his daily red packets and sign-ins were all cash. Right now, Lin Fan's funds had already reached 4.421 billion yuan.
Eh?
At this moment, Lin Fan was driving his Lamborghini toward Coiling Dragon Villa. He wanted to sign in at another place to see if he could get something different.
Creek.
When he pushed open the door, Su Ningjing was sitting in the corner of the living room, eating steamed buns with pickles. "Why are you eating steamed buns?" Lin Fan asked. After all, he gave Su Ningjing a monthly salary of 15,000 yuan. In Jiangbei, 15,000 yuan was definitely a high salary. Not to mention eating delicacies, there was definitely no problem even if she ate fish and meat every day. Su Ningjing quickly put away the steamed bun and said nervously, "Oh, it's nothing, can't I eat here, I won't do it again." Obviously, she had misunderstood Lin Fan and thought he did not allow her to eat here. Lin Fan said, "You misunderstood me. I mean, why aren't you eating something more nutritious?"
They.
"Steamed buns," Su Enning said quietly, "they're also quite delicious." After saying that, she slowly lowered her head as if she wanted to see her slender legs, but unfortunately they were blocked by her upper body. When Lin Fan heard that, he did not say anything else and walked upstairs. Then he placed his attention on the sign-in system. "Sign in." "Ding, congratulations, you've gained professional law experience." "Professional law experience? You're familiar with the laws of every country and region. You know the law well, displaying your amazing charm." Seeing this, Lin Fan's lips curled up as he muttered, "As expected, do I need to sign in at another place to get something good?" Lin Fan was no longer interested in money. He liked this skill very much.
They.
At this time in Jiangbei University, dorm 104. Zhang Jinbao sat in front of the computer as usual, chuckling from time to time. At this moment, a message from his cousin, Zhang Silly, popped up in the lower right corner. "Zhang Silly, cousin, are you there?" "Zhang Jinbao, what's the matter?" "Zhang Silly, do you have Lin Fan's contact information? Give it to me." Zhang Jinbao was slightly stunned. He hesitated for a moment before replying. "Zhang Jinbao, why do you want his contact information? Don't tell me you want to pursue him, he's not suitable for you." As Lin Fan's roommate, Zhang Jinbao knew how strong Lin Fan was. He was a great mathematician, a great physicist, and a great economist. Moreover, he was a tycoon. In addition, teacher Tianxian, the ice beauty Qin Yuxuan, the twin beauties, and the others all had a special relationship with Lin Fan. Although Zhang Jinbao felt that his cousin was not bad-looking, she was definitely not a top-notch beauty. Pursuing Lin Fan. That was completely impossible. Zhang Silly asked, "Cousin, what are you talking about? I know what I'm capable of. How would I dare to pursue brother Lin Fan?" Zhang Jinbao, fortunately you know your limits. Zhang Silly was speechless. "Zhang Silly, cousin, are you really my cousin?" Zhang Jinbao, all right, I won't chat with you anymore. I'll send you his WeChat ID. Then he ignored Zhang Silly and focused on his computer again. Lin Fan was in a good mood when his phone vibrated. It turned out that someone had added him as a friend on WeChat. "Note, brother Fan, I'm Zhang Silly, your roommate Zhang Jinbao's cousin." Obviously, she was worried that Lin Fan would not remember who she was. Thus she added a note. Lin Fan had some impression of Zhang Silly. He remembered that she was a streamer. The first time they met was at the entrance of King Feng restaurant. At that time, she was posing in front of his Lamborghini. The second time was when Zhang Jinbao brought everyone in the dormitory over for a meal. After all, she was his roommate's cousin. Lin Fan immediately accepted her friend request. The moment Lin Fan accepted it, Zhang Silly sent him a message. "Zhang Silly, work slayer." Lin Fan said, "Hello, how are your live streams going?" Lin Fan only asked casually. When Zhang Silly heard him bring up the topic, she was extremely excited. "Zhang Silly, I'm getting more than 100,000 views every day. Moreover, many big streamers often interact with me." "Thank you, Mr. Tycoon." Zhang Silly thanked him sincerely. The reason why she had such high popularity was that Lin Fan had appeared in her live stream. It made her the only live streamer on the internet who had an interaction with Work Slayer in real life. Every day, countless people in her live stream would ask if Work Slayer, the godly tycoon, would appear. The reason why the big streamers interacted with her was to ask about the situation of Work Slayer, the godly tycoon. Lin Fan thought, what's there to thank? Zhang Silly, by the way, Work Slayer, Sharkstream is holding a festival in Jiangbei tomorrow. Many big streamers will be there. Do you want to go and have some fun? It was Saturday tomorrow, and Lin Fan had nothing to do. The Sharkstream festival sounded pretty good. However, he did not agree immediately. Lin Fan, I'm not a streamer, can I go? Zhang Silly, of course, although you're not a streamer, your fame is even greater than many big streamers. Lin Fan, is that so? Alright, I'll go over tomorrow. Zhang Silly, really, that's great.
Eh?
Lin Fan ended his conversation with Zhang Silly and lay down on the big bed. He played with his phone for a while before closing his eyes and going to sleep.
Eh?
At this moment, in a WeChat group called Shark Star. Lil Silly, I've invited Work Slayer. After this message was sent, the entire Shark Star WeChat group immediately went into an uproar. Xiang, really? Will Work Slayer come to the Sharkstream festival tomorrow? Lil Lee, that's right, he promised me that he'll come tomorrow. Momo, wow. Zyro AI, great, I've always wanted to see the godly tycoon with my own eyes. I'll finally be able to do so tomorrow. 99%, no way, the tycoon is coming, I finally have a chance to attract Work Slayer. 911, what do you guys think I should wear tomorrow to attract Work Slayer? A dress, suspended straps. Zio AI, don't say anymore, my stomach is churning. Xiang, I'm so excited, I feel like I won't be able to sleep today. Momo, I really can't wait for tomorrow.
Eh?
The next day, the sun hung high in the sky. When Lin Fan woke up, the table was already filled with beef noodles, fried dumplings, soy milk, corn, and other food. It tastes good, Lin Fan took a few bites and praised. Soon, everything on the table was eaten clean. When Su Ningjing saw this, she went forward to clean up and wash the dishes. Then she scooped herself a bowl of noodles from the pot. You haven't eaten yet, Lin Fan asked. Su Ningjing nodded. Lin Fan said, you can eat first next time. Su Ningjing lowered her head and did not answer. Lin Fan was helpless, he knew that this was her personality. It could not be changed in a short period of time. Lin Fan could only casually grab his car keys and walk out.
Beep.
He pressed the button lightly and the Pagani Huara's headlights lit up in the distance. A crisp whistle sounded. Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator and the car sped away.
Eh?
Sharkstream Festival was a grand annual event hosted by Sharkstream. This year, with the popularity of the internet conference, they arranged for the streamers to stay at Maple Hotel in Jiangbei. The entire Maple Hotel had been booked by Sharkstream and was covered with bright red, soft carpets. The logo of Sharkstream was pasted everywhere and many ornaments of Sharkstream were placed. The venue looked high-end and luxurious with the aura of Sharkstream. Dressed in suits and long gowns, the streamers stepped on the red carpet and walked forward with smiles. Momo, you look even more beautiful than in the live broadcast room. Zio AI, you too.
Eh?
The streamers praised each other, but their eyes were unconsciously looking around as if they were looking for someone. Soon, they turned their attention to the woman in a black dress who had just walked in. Lil Silly, you're here. Where's Work Slayer? Yeah, is Work Slayer here? All the streamers asked her questions one after another, but they could not help but look behind her. Unfortunately, there was no one behind Zhang Silly. He said he's on his way, he should be here soon, Zhang Silly said. Her words seemed to have an effect. Suddenly, footsteps came from afar. Then a tall figure slowly walked over. You're here, Zhang Silly said excitedly. You're here, Mr. Tycoon. As soon as she said this, everyone looked into the distance and sighed. Wow, is this the godly tycoon? He's so handsome. He's even more handsome than I imagined. That's great. As the streamers spoke, they hurriedly went up to greet him. It's good to meet you, Mr. Tycoon, Momo said. Do you still remember me? Zio AI asked. Hello, Mr. Tycoon, Xiang said.
Eh?
Lin Fan was surrounded by a large group of beautiful female streamers. A series of crisp greetings rang out in his ears. Hello, Momo. Of course I remember you, Zio AI. Xiang, how are you?
Eh?
Seeing that Lin Fan still remembered them, all the beautiful female streamers smiled sweetly. At this moment, Ju Yikai, who was at the side, asked in an extremely serious manner, "Work Slayer, will you be a streamer in the future?" "No," Lin Fan said. "Ah, that's great." Jiu Yikai patted his chest and heaved a long sigh of relief. "I've always said that I'm Sharkstream's most handsome Prince Charming. If you join, I'll definitely lose my position as the most handsome Prince Charming." Everyone looked at his funny appearance and laughed. 175 live broadcast, grand event. These streamers were all eloquent and very beautiful. Lin Fan stood there as if he was surrounded by a bunch of canaries. He was enjoying himself. The live streamers chatted with Lin Fan as they walked, laughing from time to time. "I never thought that Work Slayer would be so young," Momo said. "And he's so handsome," Zio AI said. Lin Fan asked, "Then what did you think I'd be like?" "I thought you'd be the same age as my dad," Zio AI said. "I thought you were bald and had a big belly," Momo said. Lin Fan tried to imagine it in his mind and could not help but shiver. "Then I'll have to disappoint you." "It should be called pleasant a surprise," Momo called out. Zio AI took out her phone and said, "Work Slayer, my fans have always said that they want to see you. Today, their wish has finally come true." After saying that, she opened Sharkstream's live broadcast room and quickly logged into her account. "Don't show my face," Lin Fan said. This was something that Lin Fan had always requested. Even though he solved Zhou's conjecture, the twin prime number conjecture, and invented the earthquake prediction device, he had never shown his face in public. It was also because of this that he could live a relaxed and free life every day without anyone disturbing him. Zio AI nodded. Then she smiled at the camera and said, "Good morning, everyone." It had to be said that Zio AI was indeed Sharkstream's big streamer. As soon as he went online, her popularity began to soar. At the same time, countless bullet comments started to roll rapidly. "Zhang Zion, wow, Zio AI started her live broadcast so early today." "Firmament, I'm so happy today, I can see Zio AI so early." "Lonely man, huh, am I seeing things? Besides Zio AI is that Momo." "Jiao Weixing, not only Momo but there's also Xiang Xiang." "Shadowless, the one next to her seems to be Jiu Yikai."
Eh,
Zio AI said, "Yes, you didn't see wrongly. The ones beside me are Momo, Xiang Xiang, Jiu Yikai, and Lil Silly because Sharkstream is holding a festival today. In addition, it's not just them. Work Slayer, who everyone has been thinking about, is also here today." As she spoke, Zio AI slowly moved the camera to Lin Fan. However, only Lin Fan's lower body was exposed. "Work Slayer was here. I do know when it's cold. Where is he? Where is he?" Brother Jiang, Zio AI quickly raised the camera higher. "How can we see Work Slayer like this?" "Xuani's father, yes, quickly let us see what the godly tycoon looks like."
eh,
At this moment, a dazzling golden notification suddenly appeared in Zio AI's live stream. "Welcome to the live broadcast room." Then, 10 rockets, 30 rockets, 100 rockets.
eh,
The dense rockets instantly filled the entire screen. The long-awaited rocket storm washed over the live broadcast room once again. Lingfeng F***CK, as expected of a tycoon. "Treasure, I want to give birth to a child for you." "Bingzu, I want to give birth to a child for you too." "Tan Wuxin, Work Slayer is above others." "Flowers on the road, awesome."
eh,
Most of them commented with exclamation marks. The popularity of Zio AI's live stream soared. When Momo, Jiu Yikai, Zheng Silly, and the others saw this, their eyes were red as they started to stream as well.
eh,
Momo said, "Today, I'm very happy to be able to meet Work Slayer, the godly tycoon. He's even more handsome than I imagined." Jiu Yikai said, "Work Slayer is a tycoon. He's the only person who has threatened my looks in all these years." Lil Silly said, "I'm very happy today. I've met Work Slayer and so many big streamers."
eh,
Following that, Momo, Jiu Yikai, Lil Silly, and the others received notifications as well. "Welcome to the live broadcast room." Then, 10, 50, 100.
eh, eh,
A storm of rockets appeared in everyone's live broadcast rooms. Shocking and grand. This situation attracted the attention of countless people. Instantly, the traffic of the entire shark stream also increased rapidly. This explosive increase in traffic even affected Sharkstream's server. What happened? The technical director asked curiously. Did a hacker attack the server? Hence the technicians quickly got busy.
this,
Naturally, Lin Fan did not know about that. At this moment, he was continuously sending rockets to many live streaming rooms. Originally, he already had hundreds of millions of Sharkstream coins. A few days ago, he received another 100 million. These Sharkstream coins were useless to Lin Fan. It was not bad to take them out now to tip everyone for fun. After tipping 1,000 rockets to a few streamers, Lin Fan slowly stopped. Thank you, Mr. Tycoon, Momo said excitedly. Long live Work Slayer, Zio AI shouted. Work Slayer, my eternal god, Jiu Yikai roared. Thank you, Mr. Tycoon, Zhang Sili said happily. After a while, they arrived at the dining hall. Steak, skewers, lobsters, everything was available. The air was also filled with the rich fragrance of meat. Jiu Yikai poured a large glass of red wine and said, Today, we're all honored to meet the godly tycoon. I suggest that we all toast to the godly tycoon. How about it? All right, everyone agreed. Thank you, everyone. Lin Fan picked up his wine glass and slowly poured the wine into his mouth. Elegant and gentlemanly. Lin Fan's actions of drinking wine were all seen by the beautiful streamers. They could not help but be mesmerized as their pretty faces flushed red. Xiang found an opportunity to toast Lin Fan alone and said sincerely, Thank you, Mr. Tycoon. She had wanted to thank him for a long time. Xiang liked to broadcast live, but her family was very opposed to Xiang being a streamer. This was because her family felt that the job was unstable and the income was low. If not for Lin Fan's crazy gifts back then, which caused Xiang's popularity to skyrocket, she did not know if she could continue pursuing this as a career. Lin Fan smiled, You're welcome. At this moment, a burst of light music sounded in the spacious dining room. It's Elopement to the Moon, Momo exclaimed in surprise. I really like this song. Even her graceful figure swayed as she listened to the music. Then she quickly turned around. Mr. Tycoon, shall we sing this song together? She asked. Lin Fan hesitated. That's possible, however. I don't really remember the lyrics. It's okay, I have the lyrics on my phone, Momo said happily. As soon as she finished speaking, she took the initiative to hold Lin Fan's hand and quickly walked toward 176 kneeling, bullying women. Momo was a big streamer on Sharkstream. She had tens of millions of fans and was very popular. If Momo's fans knew that she had taken the initiative to hold someone else's hand, they would definitely be so shocked that their mouths would drop open and they would be so envious that they could not control themselves. However, Momo's lips curled up imperceptibly. Zio AI, Xiang, and the others who were standing at the side revealed a look of pity. They thought to themselves, if only I had pulled Work Slayer to sing earlier. Lin Fan and Momo finally arrived on the stage. Momo quickly took out her pink phone that still emitted a trace of warmth and opened the lyrics to Elopement to the Moon. Under everyone's expectant gazes, Lin Fan finally sang. Actually, you're a ruthless thief, you stole my heart, my breath, and my name. Light and pleasant. Everyone was on their knees. They finally understood what it meant to kneel. Everyone present was a big streamer on Sharkstream, and they sang dozens of songs every day. Perhaps they were not as talented as some singers. However, practice made perfect. After singing for a long time, they could sing very tactfully and beautifully. In fact, they even believed that their singing skills were not inferior to some celebrities. Otherwise, they would not have been able to attract so many fans. However, when they heard Lin Fan's singing, they felt a deep sense of inferiority. In fact, they were ashamed of themselves. In fact, this was normal. After all, Lin Fan had heavenly voice. Momo, who was standing at the side, was shocked by Lin Fan's singing. After a while, she started singing along with the music. You're the one who kidnapped me. I'm in the back seat of the motorcycle, the wind blowing my hair. Just like that, the two of them exchanged a few words, and the beautiful song resounded throughout the entire restaurant. Those worry-free days, that pure and touching moonlight. When the last line of the song was sung, the entire hall immediately erupted into enthusiastic applause and cheers. "You sang so well, Work Slayer," Momo exclaimed. "I feel that it's comparable to the original," Zio AI said. "Work Slayer, are you really not going to be a streamer? As long as you become a streamer, I can guarantee that you'll definitely become popular," Ju Yikai shouted. "Become a streamer. Some people did it because it was their hobby. Some people did it because they wanted to be famous. Most of them wanted to earn money." However, all of this was not enough to attract Lin Fan's attention. Thus, Lin Fan shook his head and said, "I don't want to be a streamer." "Yo, so all the beauties are here," a cold voice suddenly sounded from afar. A short and thin man appeared in front of everyone. "I forgot to introduce myself, I'm Gao Zhenbo. Oh, the company belongs to my family." As soon as he said this, everyone present had a solemn expression on their faces. Aya Group, a listed company with a market value of billions, was involved in hotels, real estate, entertainment, and many other industries. The live streamers present even knew that Aya Group was one of Sharkstream's shareholders. Gao Zhenbo, who was in front of them, was definitely a big shot at the crown prince level. Gao Zhenbo saw the reactions of the streamers, and the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. Then he shouted loudly, "Yo, we can sing here, I like singing the most. Momo, right? Come, let's sing a song together." As he spoke, he pushed Lin Fan to the side. Lin Fan frowned but did not say anything. After all, this place did not belong to him. If others wanted to sing, that was also their right. Momo gave Lin Fan an apologetic look. She did not want to sing with Gao Zhenbo. However, the other party was too powerful, and it would not be good to reject him. "Play the roof," Gao Zhenbo shouted into the microphone. Soon the music started playing.
They,
Gao Zhenbo sang. "I couldn't sleep in the middle of the night. I hummed my feelings into a song and could only find you in a dream. Kneel." Everyone opened their mouths and knelt. However, this time, everyone wanted to kneel down to beg him not to sing. His tone had deviated somewhere. If one said that Lin Fan's singing was heavenly, then Gao Zhenbo's singing was pure noise. An extremely ear-piercing noise. Gao Zhenbo's voice even affected Momo, causing her to sing out of tune. "Singing your song on the roof with the person I love." With Momo's persistence, she finally finished singing the song.
they,
"Alright, haha," Gao Zhenbo laughed heartily. Then he quickly walked off the stage and poured 2 large glasses of red wine. He said, "You sang so well, Momo, let's have a drink together." Momo looked at the big glass of wine and said hesitantly, "Young Master Gao, my alcohol tolerance is very poor. Moreover, there'll be a festival later. It won't be good if I get drunk." "What?" Gao Zhenbo glared at her. "You don't even want to drink when I toast you." Momo's heart tightened. She gritted her teeth. "All right, I'll drink this glass. After that, I really can't drink anymore." Gao Zhenbo nodded noncommittally. When Momo saw this, she poured the glass of wine into her mouth. Obviously, her alcohol tolerance was not very good. After downing a glass of wine, her entire pretty face instantly turned red. "Good, ha, Gao Zhenbo shouted happily. Following that, he took out a few large glasses of wine and handed one to Xiang, Zio AI, Momo, and Lil Silly. He said, "You're all my favorite beautiful streamers. I'm very happy to see you today. Come, let's have a drink together." The 4 of them hesitated. They were all weak girls who could not handle alcohol. However, due to Gao Zhenbo's background, they had no choice but to drink it forcefully. Momo had just drunk a glass of wine and was already a little dizzy. If she drank another glass, she would probably pass out. Therefore, she said, "Why, young Master Gao, my alcohol tolerance is very poor. I really can't drink now." "Why, this is the first time we're meeting and you're not giving me any face." Gao Zhenbo's face darkened. "No, it's just that I still have to do a live broadcast on the festival later," Momo said. "So you think you've become a big streamer? No wonder you don't think highly of me. Looks like I have to tell President Q to restrict your development." "HMPH," Gao Zhenbo said coldly. Momo's pretty face instantly turned pale. President Q was the operations director of Sharkstream. Momo might be a big streamer with tens of millions of fans. However, if Director Qiu limited her traffic and often blocked her network, Momo's years of hard work would soon be in vain. Lin Fan, who was standing at the side, said calmly, "A man who only knows how to bully women, what kind of ability is that?" Although it was only a short interaction, Lin Fan had already treated Momo and the rest as friends. However, this Gao Zhenbo kept making things difficult for them. Lin Fan finally could not sit still anymore. "Kid, you have guts. I've never been provoked in front of anyone." Gao Zhenbo stared at Lin Fan and said coldly. He looked as though he was going to swallow Lin Fan alive. Momo, Xiang, Xiao Ai, Lil Silly and the others heard Gao Zhenbo's words and looked at his sinister appearance. Their faces all turned pale. Lin Fan was a famous tycoon in Sharkstream. His family should have some power. However, Gao Zhenbo's family owned a huge corporation with a market value of billions. Once there was a conflict. Momo's heart was filled with gratitude toward Lin Fan, but she did not want to implicate him. Therefore, she quickly said, "Young Master Gao, he didn't mean to provoke you about the wine I'll drink." As she spoke, she picked up the wine and was about to pour it into her mouth. However, she was stopped by Gao Zhenbo. "Momo, he didn't let you drink, right? All right, I won't let you drink it either." Then Gao Zhenbo picked up 2 bottles of red wine and pointed at Lin Fan. "Come, drink it all and I can consider not pursuing the matter just now, otherwise, HMPH. 2 bottles of wine. One had to know. Lin Fan had drinking gentleman. Forget about 2 bottles of wine, even 20 bottles of wine was nothing to him. However, would he drink just because Gao Zhenbo told him to drink? How was this possible? Lin Fan glanced at Gao Zhenbo and said calmly, "I'll say the same thing to you. As long as you finish the 2 bottles of wine in your hands, I can forget about what happened just now." "You're not going to pursue the matter? Good. I'd like to see how you're going to pursue this matter." Gao Zhenbo seemed to have heard the funniest joke and his whole body was shaking. At this moment, footsteps could be heard from afar. 3 men and 2 women in suits walked over from afar. When Gao Zhenbo saw them, his eyes lit up and he shouted, "Chairman Zhang, President Qiu, I didn't expect to see you here. I'm Gao Zhenbo, the son of the chairman of Aya Group, Gao Feng." Then he whispered to Lin Fan, "Kid, weren't you arrogant just now? You'd better not cry later." When the streamers heard this, their expressions became even uglier. Chairman Zhang was the big boss of Sharkstream. President Qiu was the operations director that Gao Zhenbo had mentioned earlier. They suddenly came here. Now that the entire Finglai Hotel had been booked by Sharkstream, what if they made things difficult for Lin Fan later? Finally, this group of people got closer and closer to Gao Zhenbo. Gao Zhenbo could not help but adjust his clothes and took a step forward, smiling as he said, "Mr. Zhang, my father told me 2 days ago that he wanted to learn from you. I didn't expect to see you today." As he spoke, Gao Zhenbo extended his right hand. However, Chairman Zhang did not hear him at all. He walked past Gao Zhenbo and went straight to Lin Fan. Then, Chairman Zhang bent down slightly and took the initiative to reach out his hand. He smiled and said, "Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm glad to see you here." Silence. The entire place suddenly fell silent. Everyone looked at this scene in a daze. Chairman Zhang, the chairman of Sharkstream, actually knew Lin Fan. Furthermore, he was trying to please Lin Fan. What was going on? Lin Fan thought for a moment and knew that he had seen this person at Jiangbei Hotel with President De Ma and President Xiao Ma. At that time, Lin Fan was sitting in the main seat. Chairman Zhang, who was now in front of him, had sat at the back during the meal. Although the 2 of them did not communicate at all, Lin Fan had surely left a memory. With Chairman Zhang's photographic memory, he could remember anything he saw. At this moment, Chairman Zhang treated him politely. Lin Fan returned the courtesy. "Hello, Chairman Zhang," he extended his hand. The 2 of them shook hands and everyone was shocked again. Chairman Zhang's face was filled with excitement. He could still clearly remember how polite President De Ma and President Xiao Ma were to Lin Fan. They even took the initiative to give up the main seat. To Chairman Zhang, it was an honor for Lin Fan to remember him and shake his hand. If I knew that Mr. Lin would be coming to Sharkstream Festival today, I would have arranged for a grand welcome party for you, said Chairman Zhang. It's really too rude of me. Lin Fan said I was only invited by a friend, I came to take a look. When Chairman Zhang heard this, his eyes lit up slightly. Friend. Lin Fan actually had a friend streaming on his platform. This was definitely good news for him. Do you know him? Lin Fan pointed at Gao Zhenbo and asked. Chairman Zhang thought that Gao Zhenbo was the friend Lin Fan was talking about. He hurriedly said, I know him, his father is the chairman of Aya Group, I've always thought that he's not bad, it turns out that. Lin Fan did not wait for him to finish. Is that so? This Gao Zhenbo was deliberately making things difficult for my friend just now, moreover he kept threatening me. Chairman Zhang's heart skipped a beat. A thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. He was flustered and filled with regret. The person that he thought was not bad had just offended Lin Fan. Chairman Zhang wanted to give himself a big slap. At this moment, Gao Zhenbo could tell that Lin Fan's status was not ordinary and felt uneasy. However, when he thought of his father's identity, he became calm again. Chairman Zhang, who is this Mr. Lin? He asked arrogantly. Lin Fan dug his ears and said, I feel that Gao Zhenbo's voice is very ear-piercing. It's not suitable for him to stay in this hotel. Chairman Zhang, what do you think? Mr. Lin is right, Chairman Zhang nodded repeatedly. How could he not understand Lin Fan's words? He was asking him to kick Gao Zhenbo out of the hotel. He had said something wrong just now, and now was a good time to redeem himself. As for Gao Zhenbo, would he offend Gao Zhenbo or even Aya Group because of this? Chairman Zhang did not care at all. Yes, Aya Corporation owned shares of Sharkstream. However, that was only a small amount of shares. Lin Fan owned 5% of Penguin Group shares. One had to know. The biggest shareholder of Sharkstream was Penguin Group. Between Lin Fan and Aya Corporation, did he still need to choose? Chairman Zhang said seriously, Gao Zhenbo, this hotel has been booked by Sharkstream. You're not welcome here, please leave immediately. He was being kicked out. This was simply a slap in the face. Gao Zhenbo had never encountered such a thing before. His expression was ugly as he said, Chairman Zhang, you. At this moment, Lin Fan picked his ears and said, it's really too noisy. Chairman Zhang understood that Lin Fan was getting impatient. He shouted, security, chase him out. Soon, several security guards rushed over. Gao Zhenbo did not dare to stay any longer. He could only walk out quickly while covered in dust. Then Chairman Zhang started to chat with Lin Fan. However, he soon noticed that Lin Fan seemed to prefer chatting with the streamers. Therefore, Chairman Zhang tactfully left early. At the same time, he secretly remembered these streamers and got prepared to build a good relationship with them in the future. After Chairman Zhang and the others left, the atmosphere at the scene became relaxed again. Momo said gratefully, thank you so much for just now, otherwise I don't know what would have happened today. Thank you, Mr. Tycoon, Xiang, Zio Ai, Zio Li and the others also said. Gao Zhenbo's status was extraordinary, and he kept forcing the beautiful streamers to drink. They did not dare to imagine what would happen next. Their thanks came from the bottom of their hearts. Nearby, Ju Yikai could not help but ask, Work Slayer, may I ask, what do you do for a living? As soon as he said that, everyone present pricked up their ears. Obviously, they were all very interested. He casually spent thousands on a live broadcast. The chairman of Sharkstream could stand tall and aloof wherever he went, but he kept trying to please Lin Fan. In order to satisfy Lin Fan, he even chased the young master of Aya Corporation out. One had to know Aya Corporation was a large company with a market value of billions. It was also one of the shareholders of Sharkstream. Lin Fan smiled and said, I'm just an ordinary student. When everyone heard this, they only wanted to kneel. They really wanted to say, Mr. Tycoon, do you have some misunderstanding about ordinary people? After Lin Fan left Sharkstream Festival, he drove the Pagani Huayra toward Yiki City. The red light in front of him lasted for 90 seconds. Lin Fan looked around in boredom. He saw. Not far away, a person in a bear costume was standing on the sidewalk handing out flyers. After distributing the flyers, they slowly turned around and did not notice that a woman was rummaging through her bag and slowly walking over. In a moment of carelessness, the person's hand bumped into the woman's bag. The bag in the woman's hand fell to the ground. The woman was immediately enraged and pushed the person in the bear costume to the ground while shouting loudly. The flyers that filled the sky fell like rain. In order to stand up, the person had no choice but to take off their bear mask. It was actually Su Ningjing. When Lin Fan saw this, he raised his eyebrows and waited for the green light to come on. Then he turned the car around and parked it in a public parking space. Then he strode toward the sidewalk. At this moment, Su Ningjing was lying quietly on the ground. Her body was in pain and she felt extremely wronged. However, the woman did not care much and shouted, "Do you have eyes? You actually knocked my bag to the ground." Su Ningjing felt even more aggrieved. Crystal tears kept rolling down like flowing water. She spent a lot of effort trying to get up from the ground. However, Su Ningjing's body was in pain and she could not get up at all. At this moment, a tall figure appeared at the side and said softly, "Let me help you." As he spoke, Lin Fan stretched out his hand and helped Su Ningjing up. Su Ningjing only felt that this hand was warm and broad, giving her an infinite sense of security. The woman opposite her was still shouting, "Do you know what bag I have? I just bought this LV bag yesterday. Now that it's on the ground and scratched, pay for it, you have to compensate me. Otherwise this matter will not end today." The woman's voice was very loud, and it quickly attracted the attention of many people. Then Su Ningjing whispered, "How much do I have to pay?" "I bought it yesterday for 13,800 yuan, now you've scratched it, compensate the original price," the woman shouted. Su Ningjing's pretty face instantly turned pale. 13,800 yuan. She had already sent all the money back home. Now she could not even afford 800 yuan, let alone 13,800 yuan. What should she do? Lin Fan looked at Su Ningjing and had a rough guess in his heart. "All right, we'll pay for it." As he spoke, Lin Fan took out his phone and scanned the woman's WeChat payment code. 13,800 yuan was directly transferred to her account. "That's more like it," the woman said with satisfaction. She snorted and prepared to leave. "Wait," Lin Fan said. The woman said, "What else do you want?" "I've settled the matter of my friend compensating you for the bag. Now it's time to settle the matter of you pushing her to the ground," Lin Fan said coldly. "What do you want?" the woman frowned and said in a deep voice. "You pushed my friend down, causing her to suffer serious physical and psychological damage. 1.38 million will be enough for compensation," Lin Fan said calmly. He only lost 13,800 yuan for the bag. Now he actually wanted her to pay 1.38 million. The price was directly increased by 100 times. 1.38 million, the woman said sternly. "You must be dreaming. I'm leaving right now. Let's see what you can do to me." As she spoke, she prepared to walk forward. However, she quickly noticed Lin Fan's sinister gaze. Her heart tightened for some reason and she stopped in her tracks. "Are you deliberately looking for trouble? No one in Jiangbei has ever dared to treat me like this. I'd like to see how you're going to ask for 1.38 million later." After the woman finished speaking, she took out her phone and made a call. "Brother, hi, it's me, Zio Kayan. I'm being bullied on Kyankun Road. Brother, hi, you have to help me." Yes, I'll wait for you here." The woman's tone on the phone was no longer as arrogant as before. Her voice was very coy and it made people have goosebumps. After hanging up the call, her expression became extremely arrogant. She snorted at Lin Fan and Su Ningjing and did not say anything else. Su Ningjing said worriedly, Mr. Lin, why don't we forget about it, let's go." She did not want Lin Fan to be in danger because of her. Lin Fan patted Su Ningjing's shoulder gently and said, "Don't worry, I'll take care of everything." Lin Fan had violent aesthetics, so he could easily take on 100 people. With Lin Fan's current status and identity, there was nothing for him to be afraid of. At this moment, a series of dull footsteps came from afar. A large group of young men with colorful hair strode over. When Zio Kayan saw the man walking in front, she quickly went up to him and said coquettishly, Brother Hai, you're finally here. I was about to be bullied to death. Is that so? The man asked. How dare someone bully my woman in Jiangbei? Come, quickly tell me who it is. Lin Fan said, it's me. The man looked in the direction of the voice. His heart trembled and his eyes immediately rolled back. Brother Hai and Brother Hao were famous thugs in Jiangbei. Generally speaking, two tigers could not live on the same mountain. However, Brother Hai and Brother Hao were different. They were brothers and very good partners. In fact, this was normal. After all, the market in Jiangbei was too big. It was impossible for them to take it all by themselves. On the contrary, only by working together could they help each other, strengthen each other, and obtain more benefits. That day, Brother Hai was discussing something with Brother Hao. Suddenly, Brother Hao's subordinate suddenly called and said that their men had encountered trouble at a barbecue stall. Brother Hao was furious and immediately wanted to bring people over. After all, if one of their own people was beaten up by others in their territory, it would be a slap to their own face. Brother Hai thought that he had nothing to do, so he went over to take a look too. However, Brother Hai did not expect Brother Hao's subordinate to be so bold as to break the nose of the leader of Jiangbei. At that moment, Big Brother Hai was almost scared out of his wits. Immediately after Brother Hai, Brother Hao and the others were surrounded by a large group of people. They did not dare to resist or escape at all. They were all taken away. However, Brother Hai and Brother Hao were not on the same side. Therefore, he was released early. Brother Hao and the others, on the other hand, did not get to enjoy similar treatment. Even so, Brother Hai would never forget this matter. When they were arrested, Brother Hai clearly remembered that the leader of Jiangbei, the captain of Jiangbei's investigation team, and the others were extremely respectful to a young man. Therefore, he secretly memorized the young man's appearance. Brother Hai knew that he definitely could not afford to offend that person. However, Brother Hai did not expect to meet him again here today. It was Lin Fan. He was actually provoked. Someone who even the captain of the investigation team and the leaders of Jiangbei City had to treat with respect was provoked. Just thinking about it made Brother Hai's forehead sweat. His legs even started to tremble. Brother Hai, you must teach him a lesson, Xiao Qian shouted from the side. It would have been fine if Xiao Qian had not opened her mouth, but now that she did, the anger in Brother Hai's heart exploded like a volcano. It would have been impossible for him to provoke this big shot. It was all because of Xiao Qian. It was all her fault. Bastard! Bastard! Big Brother Hai slapped Xiao Qian's face. Soon, a red and swollen palm print appeared on Xiao Qian's face. She didn't expect Brother Hai to suddenly hit her. She was stunned. Brother Hai ignored her and bowed respectfully. Hello, Mr. Lin. Oh, do you know me? Lin Fan said. Brother Hai nodded and said, I saw you at the barbecue stall last time. In fact, there was no need for Brother Hai to say anything. Lin Fan knew that he had seen him at the barbecue stall. After all, Lin Fan had a photographic memory. Is this woman your friend? Lin Fan asked. Do you want to stand up for her? Brother Hai was shocked and quickly said, No, I have nothing to do with her. She actually provoked you. Don't worry, I'll definitely make sure she gets the harshest punishment. I'll definitely satisfy you. Lin Fan did not reply. Instead, he said to Xiao Qian, who was covering her face, How is it? Do you still want to ask for help? I can continue to wait here. How dare she? Brother Hai glared at her. Xiao Qian lowered her head in fear. Even though Xiao Qian was very pitiful at the moment, Lin Fan did not let her off just because of that. If a person provoked him but he let them off because they were pretending to be pitiful, would he not be too easy to bully? Lin Fan said calmly, Since you don't want to call for help, then do as I said, compensate my friend. Brother Hai saw that Xiao Qian did not say anything and did not agree to compensate Lin Fan's friend. He shouted, Damn it, hurry up and do as Mr. Lin says. All right. Xiao Qian trembled in fear and slowly took out her phone. Money was a good thing. However, if she made Brother Hai angry, the consequences would be terrible. Lin Fan turned to Su Ningjing and said, Ningjing, open the payment code on your phone. I don't need it, Su Ningjing whispered. However, Lin Fan did not care much about it. He picked up Su Ningjing's phone and opened the payment code.
Biba, biba, biba. They,
Xiao Qian transferred the money several times. She transferred almost all the money she had obtained through some means over the years. Seeing this, Lin Fan nodded his head in satisfaction and said, "Very good, you can leave now." Brother Hai saw that Lin Fan had calmed down, and the huge rock in his heart was finally lifted. "Yes, yes, Mr. Lin, please go ahead, please go ahead." Following that, he brought Xiao Qian and his underlings and hurriedly retreated into the distance, not daring to stay any longer. What if Mr. Lin regretted letting them go? The people who were standing around watching the show from afar also quickly dispersed, afraid that they would cause trouble. Lin Fan returned the phone to Su Ningjing and asked, "Why are you handing out flyers here?" Su Ningjing said softly, "Didn't you say that you weren't going to the villa today?" I just came out to do some part-time work. If it's not allowed, I won't do it again." Lin Fan said, "I didn't say you're not allowed. When you agreed to work for me, I told you that you only need to help clean the villa when I go to the villa. Apart from that, you only need to cook. But it's tiring to distribute flyers and the salary isn't high. Why are you doing this? Have you used up all your advance pay?" If it were in the past, Su Ningjing would have just lowered her head and said nothing. At this moment, she did not want to hide anything from Lin Fan. This was a form of trust. "Granny is sick, so I sent all the money back," Su Ningjing said. Lin Fan nodded, "So that's how it is." Su Ningjing took out her phone and said, "This money, I'll transfer it to you." Obviously, she was referring to the 1.38 million yuan she had just received. Lin Fan said, "Do you think I lack this bit of money? Besides, this money is compensation for the physical and mental damage that woman caused you. What's the point of me taking it?" After a pause, he continued, "You've dropped your flyers and it's getting late, let's go eat something first." Then, without waiting for Su Ningjing's reply, he pulled her directly toward the Pagani Hudra. Originally, Lin Fan had planned to go to Yiki City for a meal and rest. However, after this incident, he changed his mind. Su Ningjing felt his broad and powerful hand again. Her heart warmed again, and her KZ restaurant was a famous high-end Western restaurant in Jiangbei. The environment was elegant, and the decorations were luxurious. When sitting in the dining room at this hour, one could see the afterglow of the setting sun through the transparent French windows. Coupled with the music as well as exquisite and high-grade food, it gave people endless enjoyment. When had Su Ningjing ever been to such a place? After she walked into the dining room, she was at a loss. Lin Fan had obviously noticed this. He helped cut the M5 top-grade Australian beef and placed it on Su Ningjing's plate. "Try this piece of beef, it's not bad," he smiled. Su Ningjing listened to his voice. Her originally uneasy heart suddenly felt much more at ease for some reason. She could not help but swallow her saliva as she smelled the rich fragrance of meat in the air. However, she still did not eat. Lin Fan could tell that she wanted to eat and asked, "Why aren't you eating?" You eat first," Su Ningjing said. Lin Fan was slightly stunned. He immediately remembered that every time he ate, he would eat first before she did. He wanted to persuade Su Ningjing not to do this. However, Lin Fan understood that this was not something that could be changed with a single sentence. Hence, Lin Fan picked up his knife and fork and wolfed down his steak. "I'm done, you can eat too." Sure enough, Su Ningjing also started eating her steak. Although Su Ningjing was petite, she had a big appetite. A whole steak, foie gras, caviar, snails, black truffle, she finished everything. Lin Fan smiled, "Are you full?" "Yes, yes," Su Ningjing touched her bulging belly and nodded hard. "All right, let's go back then," Lin Fan said.
they,
Cooling Dragon Villa. Ever since Su Ningjing came, the entire villa was always clean, tidy, and comfortable. After Lin Fan took a shower, he lay down on the soft bed and felt very comfortable. At this moment, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket vibrated. It turned out to be a WeChat message from his roommate Song Yi. "Song Yi, brother Lin Fan, are you going to take the bus with us tomorrow or drive there?" When Lin Fan saw this message, he was stunned for a moment. After a while he started to reply. Where are we going? Songyi, so you really don't know, brother Lin Fan. On Friday, the class monitor said that it's going to be a holiday soon, so he wants to organize a class gathering before the end of the year. Lin Fan had slept the whole day on that day. Of course, he did not know about this. Lin Fan only used to gather with his classmates back in high school. Thinking back to that time, he really missed it. Now that the class was going to hold an event, he naturally could not miss it. Lin Fan replied, "All right, I'll take the bus with you tomorrow morning."
Hey.
The next day, a gentle breeze blew the treetops outside the window, gently swaying the branches. Lin Fan opened his eyes as well. He looked at his phone out of habit. As usual, a text message appeared on the screen. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,600,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Then Lin Fan turned his attention back to the system. Do you want to sign in? Yes. Ding, congratulations on signing in successfully. You've received 10 million yuan. Early in the morning, he had earned more than 13 million. Lin Fan pursed his lips and said, "Today's luck isn't that good." Then Lin Fan slowly got up and walked out. At this moment, Su Ningjing had already prepared breakfast. Her cooking skills had always been good, and Lin Fan was very satisfied. As it was the weekend, there were obviously fewer cars on the road than usual. The journey was smooth, and Lin Fan soon arrived at Jiangbei University. He had just parked his car when Song Yi, Ma Zhang, Zheng Jinbao, and a large group of students walked over from afar. "Brother Lin Fan, you came on time," Song Yi said. "Of course I can't be late for the class gathering," Lin Fan smiled. Song Jiaxin walked forward. She saw a drop of sweat on Lin Fan's forehead and handed him a bottle of Evian mineral water. "Drink some water." Seeing this, jealousy appeared on the faces of the surrounding students. One had to know. Song Jiaxin was the famous ice beauty in the class. It had always been the boys who brought her water. When had she ever taken the initiative to bring water to a boy? However, when they remembered that this boy was Lin Fan, they could only bury the jealousy in their hearts. That was because Lin Fan was not only handsome. He even solved Zhou's conjecture, the twin prime number conjecture, and invented the earthquake prediction device. Lin Fan, he was deserving of it. Pan Chen, the class monitor who was wearing sportswear, also saw this scene. However, other than jealousy, there was also a hint of hatred in his eyes. It was because before Lin Fan transferred to his class, Pan Chen had always been the most popular person in the class. All the students admired him. Other than Song Jiaxin, all the other girls had a crush on him. Pan Chen felt that almost all the girls would flock to him if he wanted to. In the end, when Lin Fan arrived, everything changed. Everyone in the class shifted their admiration toward Lin Fan. Even Song Jiaxin, who had never given him any attention, was very close to Lin Fan. With so many things happening, Pan Chen developed a grudge against Lin Fan. Honk! At this moment, a bus slowly drove over. "The bus is here," Pan Chen called out. "Everyone get on the bus in an orderly manner." Originally, Zhang Jinbao and the others wanted to sit with Lin Fan. However, after they looked at Song Jiaxin, who was standing beside Lin Fan, they decisively retreated to the side. On the bus, all the students were chatting and playing. It was very relaxed and lively. Time like flowing water quickly disappeared. Not long after, the bus stopped in front of the Xinglong Resort Hotel in the suburbs. The students looked at the beautiful fountain outside the resort and the fashionable building. Their eyes lit up. Someone could not help but ask, "Class monitor, we came to such a good place to gather. Is the class fee enough?" Pan Chen patted his chest and said proudly, "Don't worry, my dad is the general manager of Xinglong. Today's expenses are 30% off." When the students heard this, they were all extremely excited. Then they ran into the resort together. They had to admit that this resort hotel was indeed not bad. KTV, billiard room, swimming pool, barbecue area, table tennis room. Everything was readily available and was very suitable for gatherings and sightseeing. The students were laughing and joking around, having a great time. This place that the class monitor found is really fun. Yes, it is. That's great. Pan Chen listened to his classmates' praises and smiled smugly in Lin Fan's direction. So what if Lin Fan had answered those math questions? He was still inferior to him. At this moment, in the top-floor private room of Xinglong Resort Hotel, a few bottles of whiskey were scattered on the coffee table. Gao Zhenbo, who was lying on the round bed, slowly opened his eyes. He could not help but rub his swollen head. Gao Zhenbo was in a bad mood. That was because he was chased out of the hotel in public yesterday. It was a great humiliation. It was simply a great humiliation. Therefore, Gao Zhenbo went straight to his family's resort hotel yesterday and drank a few big bottles of whiskey before falling asleep. However, as soon as he thought about what happened yesterday, he was still furious. Lin Fan, just you wait, Gao Zhenbo said fiercely. He lay down for a while more before he used a lot of strength to slowly get up. Gao Zhenbo rubbed his empty stomach and picked up the phone by the bed. Get someone to send some food up. Then he casually threw the phone to the side. After a while the doorbell rang. The general manager, Pan Yongli, who was wearing a white shirt, walked in slowly with exquisite food in his hands. Young Master Gao, these are Australian lobsters, top-grade sea urchins, top-grade caviar and top-grade Australian steak that were flown here early this morning, Pan Yongli said fawningly. The best chef of our Xinglong Resort Hotel carefully cooked them. You can drink some of this soup first. It's delicious and can warm your stomach and increase your appetite. As he spoke, he carefully poured out a bowl of fragrant meat soup. Gao Zhenbo took a sip and nodded slightly. Seeing this, Pan Yongli seemed to have received the best praise, and his entire face was filled with joy. This bowl of soup seemed to really increase his appetite. Gao Zhenbo enthusiastically ate the lobsters, sea urchins, and steak. His mouth was bursting with flavor. When Pan Yongli saw this scene, he was even happier than when he was eating delicious food. Gao Zhenbo burped after eating half of the food. He picked his teeth and said, "What programs are there at the resort today?" "A magician from Jiangbei is here," Pan Yongli said. "Shall we invite him to perform later?" "Magic," Gao Zhenbo yawned. "What's there to see?" "Then how many models should I arrange for?" Pan Yongli asked. "A runway show. At the resort hotel." Obviously, Pan Yongli was hinting at something. However, Gao Zhenbo was not interested. He pursed his lips and said, "They're just trash that can be ridden by 1,000 people." Pan Yongli felt a headache coming on. At this moment the phone in his pocket rang. "Young Master Gao, I have to take this call first," he said apologetically. "All right," Gao Zhenbo said lightly. Only then did Pan Yongli realize that it was his son, Pan Chen. "Lil Chen, what's the matter?" Pan Yongli asked softly. "I've already brought my classmates to Xinglong Resort Hotel. Dad, are you at the hotel? Do you have time to come over later?" Pan Chen said. Although the students were already having a lot of fun, Pan Chen felt that it was not enough. He wanted his father to come over and show off his strength. With this, he wanted his image in the hearts of his classmates to reach the highest point again. Pan Yongli frowned. It was already good enough for him to let his son bring his classmates to the resort hotel for a gathering. His son still wanted him to go over. What was this nonsense? Pan Yongli was about to scold him. However, when he saw Gao Zhenbo sitting in front of him, his eyes turned slightly and his tone immediately changed. "If I have time later, I'll go over and take a look." After saying that, he hung up the phone. Then Pan Yongli said in a flattering tone, "Young Master Gao, my son brought his classmates for a gathering at our hotel today. Do you want to go and take a look?" "Is your son still studying?" Gao Zhenbo asked. "Yes, he's studying at Jiangbei University," Pan Yongli replied. Oh, Gao Zhenbo's eyes immediately lit up. Compared to models, young and quiet college students were obviously more attractive to him. Especially the students from Jiangbei University. This was the best university in Jiangbei. The higher the difficulty, the more one would have a special desire to conquer. Gao Zhenbo liked this feeling of conquest, otherwise he would not have forced the beautiful streamers to drink yesterday. "Since you have such good ability, your son must be good too," Gao Zhenbo said. "Since he's here, of course, we have to go and take a look. Maybe he can take up a management role in my Aya group in the future." It's his fortune that young Master Gao is able to meet him. Pan Yongli was overjoyed.
Wait.
At this moment, Pan Chen had already received a message from Pan Yongli. Gao Zhenbo was coming to see him. Pan Chen almost jumped up in joy. One had to know. Gao Zhenbo was the young master of Aya Group and the future chairman. If he could build a good relationship with him, why would he have to worry about not being rich in the future? Pan Chen's face was full of smiles. He could already see a beautiful life ahead of him. He glanced at Lin Fan. He thought to himself, you solved those problems, right? You think that by doing that no one will be able to outdo you in the future. Pan Chen cleared his throat and said, students, please be quiet. The students who were playing around could not help but stop. Everyone turned to Pan Chen. Pan Chen enjoyed the feeling of being the center of attention. He smiled and said, let me tell everyone a piece of good news. Later, this hotel, no, the young master of a company with a market value of billions will be coming over. If we build a good relationship with him, it'll definitely be beneficial to us in the future. We'll have no problem securing jobs after graduation. As soon as he said this, all the students revealed a touch of excitement. A company with a market value of billions. To them, this was definitely a colossus. Some of them subconsciously tidied up their clothes. Some of the girls even took out their makeup mirrors and carefully touched up their makeup. After all, the first impression was very important. What if they really left a good impression on that young master? They might even become friends. That was definitely a great thing. Seeing this, Pan Chen's face lit up. His father, Pan Yongli, had already made it very clear in his text message that he had to let the beautiful girls in class prepare well. Pan Chen naturally understood what this meant. At this moment, footsteps could be heard from afar. Then Pan Yongli and Gao Zhenbo walked over slowly. Pan Chen quickly went up to him and bowed 90 degrees like a loyal pug. He said respectfully, hello young Master Gao. Gao Zhenbo nodded and looked at the students in front of him. When he saw some pretty girls, he nodded in his heart. The next moment, Gao Zhenbo raised his eyebrows and shouted, Lin Fan, why are you here? Gao Zhenbo's voice was extremely loud. It immediately attracted the attention of all the students present. They all looked in Gao Zhenbo's direction. They suddenly realized the person he was talking to was Lin Fan. At this moment, Lin Fan also noticed Gao Zhenbo. His face revealed a look of surprise. After all, they had just met yesterday. Unexpectedly, they met again today. Was this what it meant when they said the world was small? After Gao Zhenbo's initial anger, the corners of his mouth curled up as he sneered in his heart. The heavens really had eyes. You chased me out yesterday, today it's my turn to take revenge. Gao Zhenbo glanced at everyone again and said, is Lin Fan your classmate? Yes, he's a classmate of ours. His name is Lin Fan. Pan Chen bent down and answered like a pug. I know it's not easy for you students. You only get a bit of money for your monthly living expenses, Gao Zhenbo said earnestly. Today it's probably very rare for you to come to Xinglong Resort Hotel for a gathering. Pan Chen, your father is the general manager of Xinglong Resort Hotel. I'm willing to bear all the expenses for this gathering. Thank you, young Master Gao, Pan Chen said excitedly. Then he did not forget to throw a smug smile at his classmates. It was as if he was saying, how is it? I'm amazing, right? They did not need to spend money today and they could gather in such a good place. The students smiled. This was awesome. At this moment, Gao Zhenbo continued, but the prerequisite is that you have to chase Lin Fan out because I don't like him. As soon as he said that, the scene immediately fell silent. However, Pan Chen was not bothered by this. On the contrary, he was very happy. That was because he had long been unhappy with Lin Fan. Now that he could chase him out, not only could he vent his anger, but he could also suppress Lin Fan and raise his status in the class. Thinking of this, Pan Chen turned around and walked in front of Lin Fan. He looked troubled and said, Lin Fan, you also know that our class fee is very limited. For the sake of class, why don't you suffer a little? Lin Fan glanced at Pan Chen and was about to say something when Song Yi called out. My *SS, what right do you have to kick brother Lin Fan out? This is our class gathering, Zhang Jinbao shouted. You're kicking people out just for some money *T. That's right, Ma Zhang shouted. Instantly, many of the students echoed. This gathering is supposed to be fun. I don't have much money, but I can still save up for the gathering. If it's free, then why do we pay class fees? If we ask Lin Fan to leave now, does that mean the next time we gather and a big shot offers us free food, another one of us will be kicked out too?
They
It was normal for such a situation to occur. After all, most people were not like Pan Chen, who was blinded by jealousy. They worshipped Lin Fan. Now that someone wanted to chase away the person they admired just because of the cost of the gathering, they naturally would not allow it. Pan Chen did not expect so many people to object. He turned to look at Gao Zhenbo, who had an ugly expression on his face. He said hurriedly, "Young Master Gao, let me persuade the students again." "Students, quiet down, quiet down. Quiet my *SS, Pan Chen, if you want to please young Master Gao, that's your business. Why should brother Lin Fan leave?" Song Yi shouted. "I've finally seen Pan Chen's true colors today, class monitor, Pa. And that young Master Gao, does he think he's so great just because he's rich?" Everyone started cursing. Instantly, Gao Zhenbo's expression turned even uglier as he sneered, all right, if you don't want to chase Lin Fan away, then all of you can scram." As he spoke, he picked up the phone on his waist and was about to make a call. Since he could not make the students chase Lin Fan away, he would settle for the next best thing and use a more violent method. At this moment, Lin Fan, who had been silent all this while, finally spoke up. "There's no need to make a call. Gao Zhenbo, this is your hotel, you can indeed kick me out. But do you know the consequences of kicking me out?" "What consequences?" Gao Zhenbo sneered. "Do you think I'm scared? Why would I be afraid?" Lin Fan nodded. "Remember what you said today." Then he turned around and walked out. Zhang Jinbao, Song Yi, and the other students followed closely behind. Song Jiaxin, who was sitting not far away, also walked out and said coldly, "Gao Zhenbo, I guarantee that you'll definitely regret today's matter." Gao Zhenbo's heart skipped a beat. He did not even notice that Song Jiaxin was there. Moreover, from her tone, it seemed like she had a good relationship with Lin Fan. One had to know. The Song family's power was not small. Gao Zhenbo opened his mouth, wanting to explain something. However, Song Jiaxin did not give him a chance at all and turned to leave. Seeing this, Gao Zhenbo could only give up. He thought to himself, my Aya group doesn't rely on the Song family, what's so great about it? Thinking of this, Gao Zhenbo relaxed again.
They
After Lin Fan walked out of Xinglong Resort Hotel, he looked at the students behind him and said, "It's my fault that the gathering today was interrupted." "Brother Fan, what are you talking about? We're all classmates, we definitely have to leave together." All the students voiced out. Lin Fan said, "However, our gathering shouldn't end like this. If everyone trusts me, leave the rest of the activities to me." "Don't worry. Of course. Haha, I can't wait." Many students answered one after another. Lin Fan nodded and took out his phone. He dialed the number of the manager of Fei Long Security Company, Wang Xingli. Soon the call was connected and Wang Xingli's respectful voice sounded. "Hello, Mr. Lin." "Manager Wang, can you arrange a bus?" asked Lin Fan. "Of course," Wang Xingli said without hesitation. His tone was filled with excitement. It was no wonder. After all, it was a rare opportunity to show off in front of Lin Fan, the boss of Fei Long Security Dragon. "All right," Lin Fan said, "arrange a bus to come to Xinglong Resort Hotel." "Yes, it'll definitely arrive within 20 minutes, Wang Xingli said. 18 minutes later, a brand new luxury bus appeared in front of Lin Fan. All the students sat down with smiles on their faces. "Go to AC Clubhouse," Lin Fan said to Wang Xingli. As soon as he said this, many students' hearts could not help but beat faster. Zhang Jinbao's and Song Yi's faces revealed a look of reminiscence, while Ma Zhang could not help but squirm. AC Club. This was the place where Tan Shengyu had brought them to when Lin Fan had bought a Ferrari. Lin Fan remembered that they could eat, drink tea, sing, and play games inside. It was a good place for gatherings. Not long after, the luxury bus stopped steadily at the entrance of AC Clubhouse. The two tall beauties standing at the door smiled when they saw so many people. They said sweetly, "Welcome to AC Clubhouse." These two beauties were tall and slender with exquisite curves. Their voices were filled with magnetism. All the students felt their bodies go soft. When they followed Lin Fan into AC Clubhouse, they stepped on the wool rug and looked at the diamond chandelier as well as the many other luxurious decorations. Their mouths were completely wide open. Lin Fan, on the other hand, looked extremely relaxed and calm. "You guys didn't manage to eat your fill just now, right? Let's eat something first." Then, under the lead of the beautiful waitress, everyone came to a place filled with Australian lobster, lamb chops, roasted suckling pig, and mantis shrimp. It was a restaurant with all kinds of luxurious delicacies. In fact, the students had already eaten some food and were not very hungry. However, after seeing the delicacies, everyone could not help but swallow their saliva. "What are you guys standing there for? Come and eat," Lin Fan said. The students looked at each other and finally walked toward the food together. The ingredients were high-end and the cooking was excellent. Everyone ate happily. Their stomachs were expanding at a speed visible to the naked eye. Seeing this, Lin Fan was also very happy. He said, "You can play with everything in AC Clubhouse. Don't stand on ceremony." "Shall we go and relax a little?" Zhang Jinbao chuckled. "I think so too," Song Yi chuckled. Ma Zhang, who was beside them, could not help but squirm again, looking conflicted. However, his footsteps did not stop. A male student overheard the conversation between Song Yi and Zhang Jinbao and could not help but ask, "Have you been here before?" "Brother Lin Fan brought us here once before. As for what fun there is here, you'll know when you come with us." Zhang Jinbao had an expression of understanding. The eyes of the people beside them lit up when they heard this. When they changed into bathrobes and came to an antique hall, they saw a group of beautiful women with graceful figures dressed in traditional Hua Nation clothes. They were completely stunned. On this day, all the students felt as if they were in heaven. They were full of relaxation and laughter. It was not until 9 p.m. that everyone walked out of AC Clubhouse with smiles on their faces. "I wonder if it's expensive here," a classmate whispered. Obviously, he had fallen in love with AC Club and wanted to come and play in the future. "How much? Let me tell you, I saw the bill when Lin Fan paid just now. He spent a total of 780,000. The surrounding students all gasped. Then they looked at Lin Fan with even more admiration. Not only was he a mathematician, but he was also an inventor and a tycoon. When he stepped out of AC Clubhouse, a crisp notification sounded in Lin Fan's mind. "Ding, congratulations on completing the hidden mission. Organize a satisfying class gathering. You've received 5 silver packets." When Lin Fan heard this, his lips curled up. He had completed a mission by holding a random gathering. His luck was pretty good. Then, the luxury bus took the students back to Jiangbei University. In the male dormitory. After today's gathering, the students were even closer to Lin Fan. A large group of students stayed in room 104. They chatted with Lin Fan until 12 o'clock before reluctantly returning to their own rooms to sleep.
Eh?
While Lin Fan was chatting, Jiangbei University, female dormitory, room 606. Song Jiaxin was different from her other 3 roommates. When they returned to the dormitory, they were still chatting and laughing. On the other hand, Song Jiaxin's smile instantly disappeared, and her entire face became serious and extremely cold. Song Jiaxin took out her phone and sent a message to the future group on WeChat. "Song Jiaxin, Lin Fan was humiliated by Aya Group's young master, Gao Zhenbo." After this message appeared, the originally calm group immediately exploded. "Liu Yuheng, what? Gao Zhenbo, that brat, dares to bully Brother Fan. He's going against the heavens, damn it. Tan Shengyu, Gao Zhenbo, when did he become so arrogant? Duan Kaiyan, I've been unhappy with this guy for a long time. Now he actually dares to humiliate Brother Lin Fan, how bold. Liu Yuheng, I'm going to teach that kid a lesson now. Tan Shengyu, Brother Liu, I'll do it with you. I haven't moved my fists for a long time. Duan Kaiyan, I'm going too." Jiang Bin, add me in. Sun Luguo, don't be anxious. Liu Yuhang, Sun Luguo, what do you mean? Is it because Sun Pharmaceuticals has a partnership with Aya Group that you don't want to teach Gao Zhenbo a lesson? If you want to persuade me, then shut up. Sun Luguo, are you stupid? My Sun Pharmaceuticals and Aya Group have long stopped working together. Even if there was a cooperation, it would be immediately gone because he bullied brother Lin Fan. What I mean is, it's too late to just teach Gao Zhenbo a lesson. We can all be said to represent our families. If we gather our strength, we can attack Aya Group from all aspects, including stocks, banks, real estate, logistics, entertainment, hotels, and so on. We can directly take him down, what do you think? Song Jiaxin, good idea. Liu Yuhang, Sun Luguo, I used to think that you were so bad that you were useless. Now it seems that being bad is useful. Sun Luguo was speechless. Tan Shengyu, kill Aya Group, I agree. Duan Kaiyan, Gao Zhenbo humiliated brother Fan, I must slap him to death, I agree. Jiang Bin, I agree too. Song Jiaxin, Liu Yuhang, Sun Luguo, Tan Shengyu, Duan Kaiyan, Zhang Bin, and the others all contacted their elders that night and told them everything. They were all direct descendants of their families. This time, it was a joint operation with so many forces. Besides, they had earned a lot of money previously from Lin Fan's investment ability. There was no reason for the elders of their families to decline. A huge storm targeted at Aya Group began. Regarding this, the chairman of Aya Group, Gao Feng, had no idea about it. The next day, Gao Feng walked slowly to the company with a beer belly as usual. He came to the spacious and quiet chairman's office and first sipped a cup of fragrant coffee. Then, through the tall floor-to-ceiling windows, he looked down at the busy street. Gao Feng's face revealed a smug look. This was because doing this made him feel like he was high above, like a god who controlled everything. At this moment, a series of urgent phone rings rang throughout the entire office, breaking the peaceful enjoyment of the peak. Gao Feng could not help but frown, and a hint of displeasure appeared on his face. What is it? Gao Feng said gloomily. Chairman, bad news, an anxious male voice came from the phone. What do you mean, mind your words? Gao Feng shouted. Yes, I'm sorry, Chairman, the man said. Tell me what is it? Gao Feng said. Blooming Farmers Market suddenly stopped providing vegetables and meat to our company. Now all our hotels and restaurants, all of them don't have any fresh food, the man said. Our company's daily needs are so huge. Does Blooming Farmers Market not want to make money? Gao Feng asked. Yes, that's right, the man said. When Gao Feng heard this, he almost choked. Go find another farmer's market, he shouted. Yes, Chairman. Obviously, the man also felt Gao Feng's anger and did not dare to refute him. After hanging up the phone, Gao Feng grunted and said, You disturbed me over such a small matter and ruined my mood. Do you even know how to do your job? However, Gao Feng did not know that this phone call was just the beginning of the day. Just as he hung up the phone, the office phone rang again. What are you doing? Gao Feng said unhappily. Chairman, bad news, a female voice came from the phone. Speak properly, Gao Feng shouted. I'm sorry, Chairman, the woman said. What is it? Gao Feng took a deep breath. Chairman, the video of us using gutter oil has been exposed. The entire internet is discussing this matter now, the woman said in a panic. What? How exactly are you doing your job? How did this get exposed? Hurry up and delete the video. Hurry up and get PR to do their work. Gao Feng shouted. Yes, yes, the woman responded repeatedly. After hanging up,